I guess I'll just call it Max White Presents.
Max White, everyone.
Here, yes. Okay, we're live. Are you good over there, Dave?
We're good.
We're live. Oh my God, we're here. Max White Presents. Very special guest tonight. This has been a long time coming, and I'm so excited for it. Oh man, I'm really excited to just announce this. Ladies and gentlemen, my guest tonight is Mr. Dave Coyne. How's it going, Dave?
It is awesome, man. As I said earlier, like just hang out with like an hour talking to you. Hell yeah.
Dude, it's so nice to see you, and thank you so much for doing this. How are you doing? How are you doing for COVID and everything?
Oh, wow. It's been a year, I guess, of really just kind of like losing everything. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And now it's time for, at the same time, rebirth in that. So I'd say I'm good. I mean, I really I don't want to complain because I mean, it's been a hell of a year. 2020 was a hell of a year, but I feel like everything's in the past and we just keep moving.
Yeah.
And that's
definitely. I love that.
That's how you do it.
You got to be positive. I love that. And you're in Columbus right now, right?
Oh yeah. Been in Columbus now for like almost 11 years.
Sick.
Maybe 12. I forget.
So I don't actually know where I want to start with this. I want to go through the trip, but I have a confession. I put on my story asking for stories from other people to DM me, and I blocked you so you couldn't see it on my story.
Oh yeah.
And I talked to a bunch of friends, mutual friends of ours, that hit me up with I love these stories. They're really fun. But I didn't want to start on without telling you the truth. I will say this: I met you in Cincinnati years ago through our mutual friend Ali Kalis. Have you seen Ali at all lately?
No, man. It's definitely been a year without seeing him.
With COVID. And
but
everything.
I mean, we were in touch. Like, you know what I mean? We recently kind of just have had some really long conversations again, and it's like represent my homeboy all day. Like,
dude,
I mean,
he's the best. Yeah. And it's so funny because I messaged him and I wrote him. I was like, "Hey, I want to have some words and stories from Dave's friends, and I'm not going to tell him." And Ali's like, "I can't do my boy like that." He was just iron cold homie. He's like, "Nah." And I was like, "Fair enough." I should have been more expressive with how I wrote that. So let's take it. Let's go back. I'm such a fan of you, Dave. Before I even got to meet and skate with you. So originally from I got the inside. We're from is it Bridgeport? Yeah, Bridgeport, Ohio, which is
Ohio,
the shadow of Wheeling, West Virginia, right?
Yep.
So
it is.
So another mutual friend of ours, OJ Hayes, who gave me a bunch of good stuff. He was saying that you can see his house in West Virginia. From where you're from.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from the hills, man.
Yeah, and then he can see yours as well. It's like a vice versa. So
yeah, it's a valley,
Yeah. So OJ Hayes, mutual friends, awesome artist, skateboarder, lives in Chicago now.
Yeah, totally.
So I'm just gonna go day one. What made you start skateboarding and when? Do you remember the year or what? Put it in context.
Well, I mean, I could say, I thought skateboarding was cool. Maybe Gleaming the Cube or when Marty McFly, did his thing, Michael J. Fox back in those movies. And then I remember I got a Valterra. I think it was my first thing was a Valterra King Cobra. That was my first board.
Yeah.
Had it for a couple months, and then just kind of put it away for a year or two. And, it was just something that I never really took to. I thought I'd like bikes more. Okay. And this is maybe between 11 and 13. And so one day I saw a buddy down the street just with a real board. And I was like, oh shit, look how he's moving. That's sick. And I don't know, he was just kind of this dude, Joe Barry. I kind of idolized him, I guess, growing up because Kim and then this other dude, Kevin Crahell came into my life and we, they showed me skateboarding, fucking Hocus Pocus and all the crazy videos, the GNS footage. I just saw all these things and fell in love with just the music and the movement. I mean, it's energy. It's positive energy.
Now, do you remember?
I fell in love with it.
Was that so? When you first got when you saw Hocus Pocus, obviously pre-internet, pre-everything, was there a skate shop near you? Because where do you see Hocus Pocus?
Videotapes. Someone had dubbed it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? On an old VCR, VHS tape, and I don't know. Because the only other video I'd ever seen was at a bike shop. There was a bike shop that used to carry skateboards back in the day
Okay.
called Quick Service, I think. And like I think you could rent like Animal Chin and like Propaganda, I think, maybe
Yes.
Ban This. Like they had more of like the whole POW thing. And like that was cool, but I didn't quite, I don't know, like understand it as much then. But then I saw like Hocus Pocus and fucking GNS footage, and it was just like, oh, that's it. Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I love those fucking videos.
Now, like, paint the
Sorry.
picture in terms of like being from Hills, West Virginia, like Eastern Ohio area. What is what's a spot that you grew up skating? Is this like a parking lot, like parking blocks, some street gaps? Like paint the picture.
Well, I mean,
don't know where you started.
I grew up kind of more rural, I guess. Like I lived on a hill that, it's like to go to any spots, I had to skate down this giant crazy hill or walk through the woods. And then, the streets were rough. It wasn't, I wouldn't say we grew up skating like ledges and shit like they have nowadays, or like, I remember I like stairs and jumping off things. So I would find like, I don't know, this like little porch. I remember where it was a Knights of Columbus, and it had this perfect little brick stair porch you could just ollie off of or do tricks. And I don't know, that was my spot. Like, I don't know, just weird. Like, God, it's such a weird terrain. I mean, it was a great time because like we did have this one place called the Civic Center, and it had like 8 stairs, 12 stairs, 6s and 6s. It was amazing. And then other than that, though, we had wood benches. I mean, it was, man, it's a really rough little area too. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've never been there, and I did see a little bit of it in a good time, but right now it's kind of hurting. But I still love to go back there and like find all these little hidden gems. Like it's full of little pockets.
And so that was going up until like what age? And then you were like local ripper in that area. And then when was like your first exposure to skating in a bigger city or a bigger scene? Did you go straight out west, or did you go over to like Columbus and skate the parks, or Cincinnati or Cleveland?
We'd come to Dodge. I mean, coming up to skate Sunsports. Like, like there was Sunsports in Columbus, and that was like, we'd come up here in winter and whatever and try to skate that. Yeah. And then we also had Pittsburgh. So it was like a lot of Pittsburgh, like Bridgeville to like Aliquippa DJ's Park, Shady Skates. Like, there were parks that we'd go to like there. And I mean, of course, the streets, like, I mean, I always feel like I was always more drawn to like, I guess the architecture and like, things to jump off of. So I don't know. I like Pittsburgh. I remember that was a big thing growing up. And then Columbus was second biggest city I'd probably ever been growing up. Went to Chicago once as a kid. And then, that was it. I'd never been anywhere. And then I was like, I'm going to San Diego.
What was it like for you? Like you're making the best out of the spots that you have available where you're from, like rural spots, rough spots. And then you go to a big city. For you, was it like overload, or was it like, look at all these opportunities, maybe a mix of both? Or
I'm sure it was like definitely a mix of both. I mean, just more things to be creative with, and then, just scarier things, you know what I mean? Because there would always be like a bigger and crazier handrail down in Pittsburgh than there was like growing up in our hometown, or I don't know, it's just endless. I mean, I couldn't really say like both. It was really a lot of both.
So you go through that, and then at what age did you move out west?
I was 19. Yeah.
19?
I remember I started, I went to school in Akron, Ohio.
Okay.
I tried college for a little bit, and it was just kind of, it was terrible. I mean, it was colder than Akron than I never wanted to be in my life. So, I got out of there and just decided to get on a bus and go out to like San Diego. And I was 19, and I just really didn't know what else to do. I mean, it was just like, I could stay and go do the college thing and just live that kind of party life or whatever life I would have had. I don't know. But I just was like, man, skateboarding is it. And I got to go west if I want to do anything with it.
Now, when you grabbed the bus, like, did you know anyone? Because you went to San Diego, right?
Right.
Did you know anyone?
I knew Chad Knight a little bit from like, growing up in Ohio and like skating at Sunsport, because he was amazing, did amazing things there. And like from Woodward Camp back in the day, like I went there as a kid.
Oh, okay.
There. And dude, you know what's crazy is like I was gonna send you this. I've been writing like all this stuff out, and I should have like sent this to you, because man, we could have like gone way further down the rabbit hole.
Oh no, dude, no, we'll do another follow up. We'll do another follow up, and we'll go even deeper. I'm so psyched on this. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, dude. But yeah, I knew Chad a little bit, so I was like, and he was going through like just turning pro, and like 7 Steps to Heaven had just come out. So I just, started sending him a letter here and there and be like, kind of try to get him on the phone sometimes and be like, hey, do you think it's cool if I could crash there for 2 weeks? Like, I want to get out west. And eventually somehow I got an okay. And I was like, fuck yeah. And I went, and it all went wrong, but turned out awesome.
Wait, what went wrong? Break that down, Dave. Like what?
Well, that's the thing is like the minute I got on the bus, I got to Chicago, had this bag full of all the things I thought I was going to need. And I'm getting on this other bus in Chicago. And as we're driving away, I'm looking at my fucking bag on the terminal, like just sitting there. And I'm like, they didn't get what about my bag? And they're like, it'll follow behind on another bus. Never saw the shit again in my life. Never got any compensation for it. Like, yeah, like I ended up in San Diego with a backpack, probably like some gay ass Jansport, like purple backpack, and like a tape, fucking headphones with a tape recorder and a skateboard, Damn. I mean, that's just, yeah.
In retrospect, was that a blessing in disguise, or do you still want your shit back?
Oh yeah. I mean, I got it back 10 times, fold. Like, it was just like, I lost it all, like, what I mean? But from the very beginning, so I had nowhere else to go.
Mm-hmm.
Put up on, I could have busted, I guess, and just come back. But man, I don't know. When I got there, it was just like, hello, welcome to like the best thing ever, like the best life you could imagine. And
so like you come into the bus depot, like that's a long dirty dog ride. Like that's days covering from Columbus, Ohio to San Diego. That's probably like 5 days, isn't it? 4 days?
It was 3. It was like 3 and a half. Like, yeah. Actually, I remember I left out of Cleveland, and then Chicago. By Chicago, it was all just like, oh my God, like, what am I gonna do with my life? Like, how did I just fuck this up so bad?
And then, like, if you could paint the picture when you pull into San Diego, or you just like get off and there's palm trees and it's warm. Like, what month are we talking here?
Yeah, you're like, let's skate. Like, I was like, oh my God, Chad, what's up? Like, I mean, him and this girl came and picked me up. Like, it was his girlfriend at the time. And, they were like looking around like, where's your shit, dude? And I'm like, kind of lost it, like, sorry, like, can we go skate now? I mean, I was like that so much of a skate rat where I was just like, I'm ready for more, or I'm ready to go forget about all my problems and just get out in the streets and see how beautiful San Diego is.
What boards were you on at that time?
Nothing. I had no sponsors. I had, like, I didn't even grow up with a shop, as you were kind of asking earlier. Like, I had no idea how the industry worked. I had no idea, like, contests. Like, I mean, there were little things in Pittsburgh or like in Columbus that, I'd been in, like, contest wise, whatever, but nothing that was ever serious where it was like, it was like, I just realized, like, once, like, a couple months into it, like, I was like, holy shit, I'm like in the heart of the industry of skateboarding. Like, not only am I like in like the best place that, I could ever want to live, the weather, but, the rest of, it just like submerged like into something that where I was just like, holy shit, like, it's just, it's the real thing out there, like 24/7.
Do you remember the first spot you went to in SD when you got there, that Chad brought you to?
I mean, dude, we ended up at Mission Bay, and I met everybody there the first day, like, that I would know through the rest of the 11 years I'd lived there. Like, it was just like Steve Salentani, Ed Dominic, just who else? Like, so, the first time I was there, I saw Peter Smalley the first day I was in San Diego do a fucking kickflip blunt slide out on this like bike rack that to me was like scary as shit. You know what I mean?
How big
like,
were his jeans?
And they weren't that bad. Like, it wasn't that crazy yet. I mean, it was still like, he was still coming off that Etnies, like, kind of like look or whatever. I don't know. He wasn't over bagging. I remember, like, he just had steez and style, and like everyone there was amazing. Like, I mean, just Brandon, I think Emmers and Aaron Snyder were there, Mayhew. Like, it was just this spot where he was just like, like, everyone that I could ever want to see, like, was there. I mean, it was the craziest day of my life for sure. Like, yeah, I can't wait to send shit, dude. If you think this is fun, like, you're the one that I really, want to have you kind of like look over this stuff.
Oh, I'm so excited. No, and I hope I've got some stuff to go down. So you're in SD, and then for like 2 weeks, you've got like a 2-week kind of clock on staying at Chad's place, right?
Yeah.
then are you just kind of like looking for spots and jobs or like to live, or are you?
Yeah. And I mean, all I could do was kind of say, use their address. And, I just laid low pretty much until like, I don't know. It was weird because I never officially lived there, but I became the dude on the couch.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, like, oh shit. Anyways, I did, I think, yeah, my first job, I ended up at a rallies. Like, I stayed close to where they were thinking somehow I'd find an apartment, but I never did. I just stayed with them because I don't know, they had my back. It was pretty crazy.
Damn, that's
I'm
amazing.
going to turn
Especially
this on again.
pre-internet too. Like, so you move out there and then you're there for how long before? Because did you go? This is what I couldn't figure out. Did you go right on to Maple, or was it a while before they put you on? Maple?
No, it was. Oh yeah, like dude, I didn't have a sponsor forever. Like I didn't think I'd really ever like come up. I mean, things were happening, like you know what I mean, and it was also kind of, I don't know, just spontaneous at the same time. Like I rarely was a dude that was like, I want to go to this spot and I want to do this trick, and you know what I mean. Like I practiced this before. I mean, it was like I'd just go to whatever sessions were happening and just try to like bust out with my friends. Like so, I went through a long period of like no sponsors. Like I don't know. I was just out there. I was living. I was working at rallies and then other like shitty jobs. Anything I could find. And I remember I got on. It was like because Pig. We got like Chad would always go down to Pig wheels, and great fucking dude. It's so crazy. Like they kind of hooked me up with Foundation. I remember like there was Mark Waters. I don't know if you're familiar with him. R.I.P. from COVID. He like was someone else I'd met through Woodward back in the day, and he was there working. Like he was like some sort of team manager, and it was all Tomieto, and just like I don't know. They eventually kind of like started hooking me up with Foundation, and then after Foundation, I was just riding with like Chad and Mayhew all the time. So I was just like, man, I just want to ride for Maple, and we just kind of switched over to Maple. It wasn't like there was like nothing really said. It was just like, thanks. I don't remember thinking like, thanks, Todd Swank. I mean, it was a great opportunity. I in retrospect, I probably should have just stayed, but I don't know. Those dudes were gnarly, and we were having such a fun time because I was always with the Maple dudes. I don't know.
Wait, that Maple team that you went on was like real heavy hitters, right? It was like was Louis Barletta on that?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'd say, of course, like you still watch fucking Jerry's part to this day, and it's still like heavy as anything can be. But yeah, we had a great time. I mean, it was a really, I guess, awesome crew of people to skate with.
Wait, who was all on that team? Because I was looking for that, and I knew like Louis was on that, Jerry Sue. Did Mark Johnson just leave, or was he on that?
No, it was like actually the first couple, like while it was in San Diego. I remember like Maple was going through all these changes all the time. Like I remember, Mark Johnson was still on when I got there. Went to San Diego, and was like living with Chad just as a friend. And then next thing you know, like I think he had quit, and then something was going on, and then Mayhew quit, but then they put on Frank Harada for a second, and then they put on Charlie Wilkins. I think Sotful was on like throughout the period of like from when I got to San Diego to this is like to where Black Cat came out. But when Black Cat came out, it was Charlie Wilkins, me. Let's see, and then they had the AMs. I guess we're still like Louis was AM at the time with what's the other dude from San Jose? Why can't I think of him? A couple other people, Daxter, and then Chad, and then Jerry. And I think that was it.
So wait, so before you got on Maple, and then when you were with Foundation, just getting boards from them, who was the first filmer that took interest in you?
Steve Salentani. I mean, he put out Troubleshooters. And that's what kind of got the ball rolling, I think. Okay. Like I shared a part with Chad in that. I don't know. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah,
Troubleshooters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that part came out, and I remember there was like, other like he shot things for like cinematographer or something like that. I think he got me in a Trans World video here or there with some tricks. And then, after Salentani, I mean, it was like him. And then I met my buddy. She started filming me, and then I eventually met Shakas, which is Mark DeLellis. And he kind of was just, who everybody filmed with in San Diego.
Can you? This is just for me. This might be overly nerdy, so I apologize in advance. Can you just tell me what was filming like back then for even Black Cat? Like, what was a normal day in filming versus now of like this clip stacking kind of thing? Back then, was it more just a session that was recorded by the filmer?
Yeah, and I mean, I guess it's for whoever was, whatever spot you were at, and whoever, like, sometimes, so you'd end up at a spot because somebody wanted to do a certain trick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of that, that's always going to happen. But I mean, for me, I think it was more spontaneous on where we ended up is where I just tried to do stuff. But yeah, it was weird. I mean, a lot of it, back then was shooting photos. Like, everything was coming down to like a sequence in a magazine. You know what I mean? Okay. So it was like that sound was like, I don't know what you kind of always wanted to hear. I don't know, man. It was funnest part of going out on a session. If you were, kind of shooting something cool. And then, I mean, we tried, but we didn't, I don't know. We tried as hard as people do nowadays. I don't know. I don't know how, like,
before, is there on that photo front, do you remember your first photo published?
Yeah, because I don't know if you know Kevin Marks, but he does this look back library thing on Instagram. And he sent me actually one of my first photos in Thrasher. And it's like me at like the graphics bong warehouse, like hauling off this thing into this, like, I don't know, wall ride thing. I don't know. Chad and I were just goofing around, and he shot one off, and it was like, that was it. I remember that was the first one. And I think my second one would have been like Transworld, like a pop shove it that Jeff Kula shot in Cleveland. Found some double set.
Was it like, so just industry wise back then, so you get published in photo, and like, so that first photo at the graphics warehouse, was that when you were still with Foundation, or was that before that?
I don't even know if I had any sponsors at the time. Okay. Like it was just, I was out with Chad shooting, like, he was out trying to shoot Chad's like pro interview at, you know what I mean? So we were just, kind of like mobbing around spots, that day. And we ended up down there. I think he might've shot like Cookie Head Jenkins do something that day, or I don't know who else was there. It was cool.
And then, dude, that's amazing. And it was all using like old film, like actual film too. So it just mattered. Just whole roll.
Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? You'd know, like, I don't know, man, if like it was someone like was on it that day, because there would be, there wouldn't be as many film canisters left at the spot. Like, back then you'd roll up to spots and you'd know like something heavy went down, because you'd find like just spent film on the fucking ground. It was awesome.
What's of anything that stands out? Like, you were skating with obviously heavy hitters. You're one yourself. Was there anything that stands out that you were there when they were filmed? Is there anything that you're like, I was there when it happened?
Oh, dude, yeah, man. I'm lucky to say I've seen some awesome fucking gnarly shit.
Can you just give me one? It doesn't have to be the best, but just one.
Yeah, I could say from Troubleshooters, man, the day that Kent and Russell did the backside flip the hard way over the Point Loma rail. I mean, it was just it was just such a good day. I mean, after that, man, he did that, and it just like, I don't know, it was just nuts. It was just fucking awesome. Was
after a day like that, was it just like straight up back to the house party style, or bars or whatever, or was it just keep skating?
Well, no, I mean, for like us, it was just back to the house to like, fucking, for them to drink, whatever, and drink themselves silly. And then, I don't know, like Ken was his own dude. Like, I mean, he was like way too smart for our shenanigans, because we were like, a bunch of Midwest dudes like in a house, and I don't know, probably not easily understood, because, my dudes are the craziest. That's all I know.
I still don't get along with everybody. I think that's just like a Midwest thing. Like we're our own people.
Yeah. And then, we had two Californian like dudes that lived with us, and, it was like, I remember Josh and this dude Holt had their own room, and then like Larry and Shane, who are from like PA, like they had their own room. Chad had his own room, and I had the couch. And so it was like, I don't know, this is a weird little house, man. But all those dudes partied. I mean, they still all chat too and everything, man, except for like Josh and Holt, like the California dudes. We don't know whatever happened. I don't know.
What, different way? So then how did it go from moving on for Maple, right? Like, I love the ad of the leprechaun suit.
Oh, sweet.
Will you tell me the story of that, how that all came to fruition? I feel like that was your idea.
I mean, okay, yeah, like during that time, whatever, I was eating a lot of weed cookies, like, cakes, what I mean? Like, and this is like back before we knew anything about what we were doing.
Yeah.
But, we'd just make up some butter, make up some cookies. And, I always liked skating on them. So I was like, probably want the smartest thing. But I remember, I knew they were, he asked me, what do you want for a pro model? And I said, I want like a goose, like flying away from a leprechaun with a gold coin in its mouth. And, Rasta Rainbow going into the pot of cookies or into the pot of gold because they're fucking space cakes. You know what I mean? Like, and they're like, awesome. And this dude, Brian, man, he took exactly what I said in my head and just mapped it out perfectly on a board. And I don't know, it was just the best thing ever. You know what I mean? For me.
What was it like, can you, just being from, Eastern Ohio, West Virginia, greater area, getting your first pro model? Do you remember like seeing it for the first time?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember like, going and getting a bunch from Maple, and it was just like, shit, I even bought a whole bunch because this is awesome and gave it out to people, whatever. But I remember like that day was just so surreal. And I remember going to like the skate park and Willie Santos was there. And I think I showed it to him and he's like, oh man, that's awesome. Like, I mean, knew you had it in you or something like that. And I was just like, it was surreal as fuck. I mean, from 2 years ago, like being like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to live out here because I didn't know where I was even at. And, to be where I was just, it was fucking amazing, man.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Blessed. I mean, so blessed, dude.
That's so from Maple, right? And then how did Osiris happen? Because it seems like Osiris was a Maple team.
Yeah, no, and pretty much so.
Okay.
It was let's see, when I got out there, Evil Shoes was kind of transforming into Evol or whatever. Like,
okay.
This dude, Reed had gone to Tony Mag and been like, hey, I got this, symbol for a company. They ran with it. They had that first batch of like a Ken Mayhew, Adam McNatt, Gershon, like, all these people that like great skaters. And, and it was basically just, the fallback of Evolve shoes.
Okay.
But somehow it eventually just kind of grew, like, like Tyrone was on there as well. And I think, things just started picking up. I don't know how exactly, but Chad got involved. Who else? And then, yeah, like Jerry was on. I mean, yeah, and like I was on, like we were all on Maple. I don't know. It just all kind of just evolved and grew and grew and grew and just till it exploded.
Yeah, till like tour bus. And I want to ask you, do you remember? And I'm going to tell my side of the story that I found out. But do you remember your first trip to New York on the Osiris tour bus?
Yeah, one of them. Well, so yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
About the vinyl sticker? Was that your first time in New York?
I think so. Yeah, we flew in.
Yeah,
and we met everybody on the bus there. It was crazy. Yeah.
And again, this is just what I heard, but you got off the tour bus, which had all your, like, it had life-size, bigger than life-size decals of all of you guys. So, of everyone, and the sticker was bigger than you.
Oh, yeah, man, for sure. I mean, it was like, oh my God, dude. That was like weirdest tour ever. Like,
how long was it from getting on Evol turning into Osiris? How long was it until they got all that money? Was it just the D3 or was there other shit going on?
No, I think they just, they were kind of like guerrilla marketing themselves, right? Like, I mean, they just kind of just kept bombarding it. And back then it was a skaters, skateboarder by skateboarder kind of like thing. Like, you know what I mean? It was a shoe company that was for skateboarders by skateboarders. So it was like, there was, and it was pretty legit that back then. But then, it just grew and grew and grew. And then next thing you know, you have like so many people who work there who have no idea about anything about skateboarding. And then you have like, it's just weird. I don't know.
So
but I'd say overall, like 97 is when I first remember like seeing Osiris popping off. Like, like Mayhew wearing a shirt.
Yep.
And being like, oh, this is something interesting. Okay, cool. And then watching it go, I think I got on maybe at like the end of 98 or the summer of 98, I believe, is when I did like my first tour around the US.
Okay.
Yes.
What year did the D3 come out?
Like 2000, maybe like,
Okay,
or
so that
like
was
maybe
later, a
like
little later.
99, 2000. Yeah.
What were those old
Yeah.
Osiris tours like? Because that was why you guys were filming the storm, right?
Yeah. I mean, the first one was the best thing you would ever want to experience in your life. It was just, you know, the main group of people like who wanted to be there, just going to a van and setting up ramps in like parking lots of like, I don't know, Play It Again Sports or like, I
Yeah.
think we did a demo in a Burlington coat factory. You know what I mean? I mean, roller rinks. Like, I mean, we just did weird, crazy, weird shit all out throughout the US.
Yeah.
Like just yeah, we brought the you know, the ramps and everything and set them up and then skated and you know, took them down. I mean, and they had like a crew of people too as well, but so it was just core and it was awesome. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? We'd go skate street when we got to big cities and I don't remember like, you know, just picking different photographers and filmers along the way. Like we picked up cool you know, Nichols and it just kind of was awesome. It was just this real, like first time I really ever got to see the United States, I guess, you know, just skating it. Like
Did the tour
no
bus
other
go?
reason.
Did your tour go through your hometown at all or near there?
Not the first one. And the first one was just vans. It was just two vans with like
Oh,
U-Haul
gotcha.
trucks. They were
Okay.
U-Hauls, like, you know what I mean? Kind of, you know, carrying stuff. And then, yeah. And then as things got bigger, it just evolved and got weirder and weirder. But that was the best time I ever had.
Yeah, that was a good tour.
That first one, 98.
How long were those tours in '98? Like, were you guys on the road for how many months? Or like a month?
At least a month, a month and a
Yeah.
half. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it was such a good time that I don't know. Probably didn't ever wanted it to end.
And then
Uh-huh.
how did pro model shoes get picked for Osiris? Was it? I heard it was lottery. Did Mayhew get the D3 just based on like drawing straws or no?
No, I think I don't know. I don't know what the whole story is. I mean, I know like, you know, what I mean, it was either him or, you know, Reed, like, you know, they had some sort of, you know, found some idea to make lace loops bigger and went with it. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if it was a lottery. I think Mayhew might have like designed it up or like someone obviously drew something and they went with it. I don't know who's to say. I mean, I get it. I didn't really pay attention. Like, you know what I mean? Like shoe design was like, I don't know. Why would I want to do that? I want to skate. Like,
That's I grew up working at the skate shop in West Michigan, and I remember when we first got Osiris, and it was before we had the D3 came out. But I remember like the logo shirts were like super popular, and it was just like. And then I remember like years later, I thought, was it 2009? Whenever the D3 came, I remember like opening the box and being like, "What the fuck is this thing?" Like, because at the time it was like with like the DC, I want to say Lynx, like Kalish's shoe was around. It was just like, it was nuts. I just remember seeing that. And then finding out Mayhew's from Wisconsin. And
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah, and you're from Ohio. I'm like, this is like Midwest dudes. This is crazy. Like,
Yeah, it was, man. It was definitely like a hodgepodge. Like, I don't know, of like kind of just people from all over the place, but
Yeah.
you know, we were in San Diego. And I mean, yeah, Tyrone was Wisconsin, Madison, him and Mayhew grew up together. You know, me, Chad, Scott. I mean, we had kind of all known each other throughout the Ohio scene, I guess. And,
yeah.
you know, it's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, those first shoes were just weird. Like, I don't know, like that. The whole D3 thing to me is just, it was a okay shoe if you wanted to have it. I don't know. Like, I didn't really care. And I didn't know at the time, like how crazy it was getting. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like it got popular.
Was that so when you're you back from tour and then you're back in SD, are you living now as like, that's your job? You're like, did you quit rallies or are you just skating for a living now?
Yeah. I think the last job I had was before I went on that tour was at like a sandwich place making sandwiches.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then at that point, I think we were all living in this one place called Ghetto Ridge. And I remember I was maybe making $500 a month, like maybe like 250 from Maple and maybe like another like 300 or so from Osiris at the time. And so, yeah, I started living off of that. I mean, trying to like sell boards, whatever, and just kind of hustle it and just tried to stay skating more. You know what I mean? That was the goal.
What about, I mean, we'll get in this in a little bit, but you're obviously big in health and like, you know, you went to school for acupuncture, but I noticed throughout your career, I was trying to find any evidence or like reports of injury, but did you have any major injuries? I couldn't find much. Couldn't find anything.
Well, yeah, I mean, tons of things. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I try not to focus on the pain. I just keep skating.
Yeah.
No,
Okay.
just
All
kidding.
right. Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, like I've heard everything, man. I've blown out shoulders and
Okay.
yeah, I just never went to any doctors or anything. I just try to stay healthy and I don't know. Definitely hit my head a couple of times. And who hasn't done that, right? Hey,
Yeah.
you
I'm
know?
fine. I'm fine. It's all good. How long were you in San Diego for before you moved back east?
11 years.
11 years. So, like,
Yeah.
can you kind of like what made you decide to start coming back, or were you kind of out there and then?
You know, just definitely it was like family, kind of like, you know, it was like things were, I was getting older to where it was like, I wasn't like enthralled with, you know, just, I guess the hustle and bustle of San Diego because I was going to go to school for acupuncture and I'd found a school in Columbus, 2 hours from where I grew up. So I was like, you know, might as well, you know, try to save some money while I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing with my life.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I'm kind of, you know, I'm not super glad I did it, but I'm super stoked that, you know, I did something.
So, was Maple the last board company you were on while you were still out west?
No. Maple only lasted a couple years because some dumbass shit. And then, what was it? Maple. And then I think I rode for Germ skateboards.
Okay.
Like Tyrone, like when Tyrone was getting rid of or kind of kicked off Arcade or whatever, they gave him, and Osiris, I think they gave him a board company to do called Germ. It was him and Marcel Johnson and this girl Sayaka. I mean, that was it. I mean, that was like the last like thing. And then I had something where it's like some wood company, like, I don't know, Premium or something, like something called Avera. And then Effort. I don't know. Effort was like definitely supported me like when they were doing those boards out of Cincinnati.
And was that James O'Laughlin?
Do you remember Effort?
Yeah, I know Effort. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Did James
Yeah.
start that company?
Yeah.
Yeah, because okay, yeah, I knew.
And that was, I think, was like the last. Sorry.
No, keep going. No, I was saying James had
So-
I met him through high school. Through that's a nickname for Andrew Martin. People that don't know, who started the Alpha Skate Shop. Andrew's the reason I had my own skate shop. Like it was so amazing the way he ran that, and that's how I met Jap and everyone there is through all those guys. But I remember hearing, I hadn't met you. I obviously knew of you, but then when I moved to Cincinnati, I'd met you. Wait, I want to go through before we move on forward. OJ told me to ask you about The Spot, THASPOT.
Oh,
Is that like a bike shop or something?
That's the hometown shop. There is a skate shop now where I'm from.
Okay, gotcha.
And that's the name of it. It's called The Spot. Yeah, man, it's a great thing to have in the valley because I was there a couple months ago and dude, I'm so glad there's a shop there because I was driving around one night or whatever and I didn't close my trunk all the way. And I remember like I'm going up my hill up back home and next thing I know I hear like go goonk and the trunk closes. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I mean, I didn't realize it. The next morning I go to my car, my fucking skateboard's gone.
No.
Like I must have hit this bump and blew out my skateboard and these other signs like that were in the back of my car. And I was just like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And like, I don't know. I was just happy to say like there was a shop in the hometown that saved my life because I don't know, just was able to go pick up stuff, which man, I don't know. It was crazy.
How did you get
So
boards?
stupid.
Like going backwards, sorry, but how did you even get boards when you were younger out there? Was it CCS?
Hamels, man. I was a Hamels kid, like
Okay.
Hamels blanks. But I mean, we had shops like, we had like DJs or like some sports, either in Columbus or Pittsburgh or trying to think what other spots that sold boards. Yeah.
Our
But,
skate,
you could order from magazines. CCS, man. Like
we had like an indoor skate park that would always close because they throw punk shows. So then when they were out of business or like closed down, you'd have to like resort to CCS. And I remember like you'd order like I remember one time ordering like just a regular Hensley board with like Independence and whatever wheel, and then they sent me a Hensley Junior with like Gull Wing Shadows, and I was so bummed. That, it took like a month to get it, and it was like when you had to like use your cash, get a money order, It was like such a different process than it is now.
Oh God, yeah,
I was
yeah,
so bummed out. And you're like, and then you're like,
yeah.
you call the number that's like San Luis Obispo, and it's like, one dude working 2 hours a week, and it was a fucking letdown. I'm still salty about that. Wait, I'm going through this. All right, I gotta ask you about Doctor Nonsense. Who is he to you?
Oh my God, dude. It's I guess it's my ultra rap ego, man. I mean, it was just like started a couple years ago. Like I always just like to write shit, like rhyme words, and
Yeah.
it just grew to like me for having like this little like play school like keyboard to like learning how to do garage band and just I don't know, it's something to do, man. Like
Well,
just it's writing, I guess. It's my
well, I just noticed I was watching some of the parts, and I watched the Sound Skateboards remix part,
okay.
and it has like in the logo, it has
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing right now. The whole Slizza thing is like kind of like dropping, like, I don't know. If I were to like do anything, I'd want to call it Love and Nonsense. And just like, I've been playing with that imagery for like 20 years. And I don't know, just, but at the same time, like, yeah, everything is nonsense, man. It's all about peace, love, and nonsense, baby. Skateboarding to me, nonsense is skate.
Yeah, I know, dude. The most common, which you brought it up, but the most common question I received from you is just or about you. People I want to know is they said, ask Dave about Slizza.
Dude, it's happening. I don't know, man. It's just one way to just like give back to homies that want to like be inspired to put something on their board and go try it out. I just want people to go out and go skate. So yeah, Slizza is just like the laminate that you can put on your board, and I don't know, it might help you slide on something. It might, I don't know, kind of tear off right away. It's just something, man, to like kind of throw out to homies and it's kind of, I don't know, want to inspire and send skate love, just
hell yeah.
It's and it's something that's really been tried to do it like 20 ago as well.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't the right time. Like right now, it's just like, what else do I have to do? And it's just been a fun like journey of like kind of making this product and little ideas for people to have or something, for them to.
So just to clarify, like, so anyone that's listening can know, like, Slizza is basically you're taking a board and it's like a clear vinyl surface that you're sticking on the board, and it's like makes a board a slick, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like an Everslick.
Right. Yeah, it's a self-stick Everslick or a slicker sticker for your city slickers.
I'm gonna make the best commercial for Slizza. I'm so psyched on that. What do you think about this? Is coming from you've skated this whole time. You've seen so many different different ways of bringing skateboarding to light in that like media. Like, so you came from the old like you film for a year, sometimes multiple years, and you put out like a video, right? Now we're in this world of like constant content of just like we're drowning in it. Like what are your thoughts on that? So I'm just curious about.
Man, I love it because the stoke is like constant. Like you can just, I don't know, if you want to I guess a reason to go skate. Like there's always something you can look at to get inspired, but at the same time it's a little overkillish too because I don't think company videos mean as much as they used to, or there's just it's definitely a different world. I mean, believe me, I don't know what else to say about it, but I love it. But then I try not to get too sucked into it all at the same time because it can work the other way too. And you're like, oh, why even skate? Like this 13-year-old or 9-year-old can go and kickflip backside lip slide. Hell, I'm never gonna do that. Like, nah, man, just you gotta love it and then build off that, I guess.
What do you like?
I love it.
That gets me into this too. What, like, looking back now is like someone that has seen a lot of skateboarding and done a lot of skateboarding. What about you? Like, what stands out about skaters nowadays? Like, is there something, you don't have to mention names, but like, what is it? Is it like individual style? Is it someone skates with speed? Like I believe this, that like all skateboarding is divided into 3 categories: skill, style, bravery. And you can judge anyone based on this. It's like an objective scoring system, but like for you, standing out, like what catches your eye about skaters nowadays, or what do you look for?
Flow, man. I mean, just like just, I don't know, finesse, flow, and like, gnarliness, you know what I mean? Like, I guess just, it can be like technical or it can be big, like, you know what I mean? Just however far they're willing to take it. I mean, it's just, dude, it's so insane right now. Like I don't know what's happening in skateboarding, like the mentality of like, the abilities that people have. It's just, I don't know, ungodly. It's like that dude who rides for real, that Vander guy or whatever. It just, I mean, it's like, I can't ollie up to a curb like that. And he's doing like some crazy thing down a rail, like ollie into yourself and through yourself to land this way. I don't know. It's mind blowing, dude. Like, I love it. I mean, there's no doubt. But it's different.
Where do you
skateboarding is so different.
Where do you stand on contests, like compared to contests and filming? Like, were you kind of a proponent of contests? I know I haven't been able to find this, and maybe you could help me. But there's backside three kick flip at Tampa Pro that you did. And
no, the AM. It was the AM thing. It was like, yeah.
And then didn't land anything else the entire run.
Yeah. Oh, it's ridiculous. Like, I am not like, oh God, contest. Like, yeah, I don't know, man. Just taking skateboarding seriously is just, in that kind of setting, I don't do well.
Okay.
But I'll try some, you know what I mean?
What do you think?
I mean,
about,
in that time it worked out.
But what about for now? Like, as you're getting older, did your attitude change about contests? Are you watching Street League when you see it on TV?
Oh yeah. I mean, oh my God, like that shit, I'm blown away by those guys. I mean, they can go and do that shit every try. I mean, it doesn't even make sense to me. It's like, I'm the kind of person that like to do it once and done. Like,
and then
hey, I did it.
Like with the amount of money that's in skateboarding now, like with like, all these people having their personal like TFs, right? Like Nigel Houston having like a plaza in his dining room basically, and all this stuff. I mean, it's weird being older and not being salty. You know what I mean? It's like, cause it's part of being old is to shit on things that are new. Maybe that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Okay.
But I guess my question is there anything like, how would you compare now versus then? Are there any major differences that you see in terms of preparation and training? I
mean, yeah, I think nowadays people are totally like prep to do the things they do. Like, compared to back when we were doing it, it was jokes. It was like, hey, I'm going to go do this switch frontside big spin down this 10 set. And it was like, ha ha, yeah, right. Like, you know what I mean? And then you get there and be like, what the fuck am I thinking? Like, you know what I mean? And still try it anyways. And, that's how, you kind of like got good at things. But nowadays it's like, it's bred, and it's like, more like you start at a 2-stair and you take that up. I mean, for us back then, I think in the day, it was just going to the spot that was the place you saw yourself doing it and going for it. You know what I mean? Nowadays, it's like, like fit their parents, like, taking them to the spots to do it.
Yeah. And you got like dads yelling like, did you do 14 360 flips today, Junior? Like, you never did a push-up at a spot, Dave? You were out there just doing push-ups, getting jacked before you finger flip Carl's bed?
Not really. No, actually, I didn't do that. I should have. Knowing what I know now, I damn wish I would have, like, I don't know, tried a little bit harder.
That was one of my questions someone asked me to ask you was, what did you eat before you finger flipped Carl's bed?
Carl's Jr. No. Shit, I don't know. I remember that day. I remember being in the parking lot of the school and like just hauling ass and, trying them on flat. And then we went in and started trying it. And then, like it was down to the 17th try. And I mean, I remember seeing the cop walking around and I was like, I got to fucking do this. And, that was the one. I fucking landed it and just kind of rode out. And like, I met everybody outside the school, like kind of like hiding in a bush, like, are we good? Like, no one got arrested or nothing. Like, all right, cool. And it was just like, that was, I don't know, probably a good night after that one.
Yeah. So fucking rad. That's that was 17 tries to land that.
Yeah.
I noticed this
I remember.
Damn, brutal, huh? So like I noticed this about a lot of your spots, and I'm not sure if maybe kids nowadays have more t-shirts. This is a very weird observation. But a lot of my favorite clips of you, you've got a lot of dirt on your back, like on your shirt. Like you've been skating a lot that day. You're like sweated out.
Thanks.
Like
Yeah, man.
yeah. So
I work for it. I mean, there's no like, shame in the game. It's like, you know, get dirty. I mean, that was actually the motto of Germ. So I was probably wearing the same shirt too for like 3 days at a time. I mean, not that I still do that, but sometimes I still do that.
I still do it. I think I'm on day 3 on this hoodie. What about okay, so when you came back, I guess we'll fast forward to when you came back out east, you were already on Effort. You already had boards and pro on Effort.
Yeah, Effort was happening. And that's the time where I met you.
Yeah, that was
time.
Like that.
Wait, are we at 2008? Because that was around the time Galaxy.
Yeah, I moved there in 2005, 2006. I just remember, with like Ali, James Laughlin. James ripped so fucking hard. I only saw him skate a couple times, but that dude, it was at like Ollie's, like one of those late night old man sessions that, Cincinnati was like, I lived there for 7 or 8 years. I think I had a place there, and it's like a near and dear place in my heart. This is about you. Yeah, I gotta go back to my notes here. What like are you still like, you're on Instagram, you're skating a lot, you're putting stuff up. Are you still like actively watching a lot of skateboarding, like out of your way? Is there, because as you get older, your body
skate
can do
line.
What's that?
Skate line every week. I mean, you know what I mean? That's the guide. I mean, Thrasher,
so good.
App or whatever, like YouTube it, and I guess I still follow it. I mean, I love it.
Was there ever a part where you were kind of over it, or have you just stayed psyched on it the whole time?
Oh, I mean, I've always loved it. I mean, it's always like been what I wanted to do, because to me, it's like, it's what I used to gauge the rest of my life with. Like, what I mean? If you're skating like shit, something in your life is obviously out of whack. Like, I mean? And sometimes you just get served, but that's part of the game. Like, you go out and you eat shit and you get back up. And so, I mean, there wasn't a time where I wasn't not loving it completely, but I mean, I was busy like learning like Chinese, medicine, like at the time. So I definitely like, a couple of people coming up here and there, but I'd say throughout since the time I skated until now, like I'm pretty much, a skate thesaurus or dictionary of things that, I've seen, done, and, in a video or a magazine.
What like, have you always been interested in Chinese or Eastern medicine?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think I just fell into like line with like Taoism and like, from like the book, The Tao of Pooh, and it just being like, I took some Kung Fu, I think one time in college, got into like, what else? Just, I used acupuncture because I figured, it's what ninjas do. And I'm a ninja.
So you go like, so I remember when I met you, you were in school for it. Is that something like kind of that quest for the knowledge of like working on bodies and keeping people healthy? It's like a constant process, right? So is that like, would you ever go back out west to work with skateboarders to like keep them healthy, or do you want to stay where you're at, or what are you thinking?
I mean, I don't really like, it's there. It's like, I mean, it's like skateboarding in a way, because it's led me to a lifestyle. It's like the knowledge, I may not use it every day because it's not what I do for a living anymore, but it's like the knowledge is there to like, I can use to guide myself through whatever situation I get myself into, or other people I know are open to it and they want to use it. I mean, I still do it, but I don't know. I was drawn to it because it's knowledge. It's like, it's different than anything else, in this physical realm. I mean, because it's kind of more energetic. So it's metaphysical. It's like what acupuncture does is just aligns energy, you know what I mean? And, it's all about manipulating that. So it's right up my alley.
It's right up there. Are you, I love asking this to people like on the show, and particularly skateboarders. What piece of advice would you give a young kid nowadays that wanted to like go down the route of becoming a pro skateboarder? other than skate more? Because that's like with comedy, if I ask comics that, they say get as much stage time as possible. That's almost like an obvious. So is there anything that you wish you knew back then, even though it's a different time?
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like anymore. It's just like stay true to yourself, and I don't know. Just I don't know. What? I mean,
Like picture a kid that's from like where you're from, right? Like everyone has internet now, but maybe some of
like,
that.
yeah, I don't know. I would say just don't try so hard, but stay true to yourself, and you know, don't ever let anyone tell you that they made you, or you know what I mean, like one of those kind of situations. Like if it's you skateboarding, you did it. Like you know what I mean. Like that's one of the awesome things about skateboarding. Like, and it just as long as you're happy with what you did, then I don't know. Life is about being happy, not just skateboarding too. So I don't know.
Damn.
It's it's a deep one.
Yeah. I like that question though, because it was like when I was younger, obviously I talked too much. And I just remember I used to get told like, dude, just shut up and be cool. But that's not my natural state of things. Like I just never, I could fake it all day, but like, dude, dark and mysterious is just not me. Like,
Right on. Yeah, be you. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, I mean, like anybody who's out there now, like, be you, but like, you know, I don't know, be also conscious of what you know, who you be, I guess. You know, I don't know. I don't know. It's so weird. Like, cause I see tons of kids coming up and like, I don't know. I don't even know what to say to them because it's such a crazy world in skateboarding anymore.
there's just so much all the time. And it's almost like skating's the easy part. Like everybody can do the hardest.
Yeah.
Everybody can do the hardest shit, but like you almost have to have a character now and like a brand. But then there's people out there that don't subscribe to that, and you're like, damn, they're just really ill skateboarders. Are there any people that, not to put you on the spot, but to put you on the spot, are there any skateboarders that stand out right now that you're really excited about, be it local or high up?
I don't know, man. I like Ashad. I mean, his style is just great. And this always, but yeah, I mean, there's just so many people, dude. Like, I mean, one more particular shit. It's so
hard.
Yeah. I mean, because everyone's so good at different things. I mean, like my favorite people. I mean, my favorite, skaters are usually the people like I can skate with. So, I don't know. Recently, like, I don't know, I'd say like, he's not just a skater, but he's a BMX race dude, Steve Hamilton. I mean, he's just someone who like, just always doing something. So it's like people who are always doing something are the ones that like, I don't know, I'd say motivate me, you know what I mean? But I mean, he's not really in the pro realm or that we would know of, but yeah, I shot, man. I love that dude. Jamie, I mean, Pedro, God, dude, Death Wish video was so good.
That was insane. Yeah, it was like I'm at a point now where I get mom feelings when I watch really gnarly skateboarding, like some of the GX stuff, or Emmanuel Guzman. That like, did you see that into that ditch? That clip that's been going around.
I haven't seen it yet. No,
comes out switching just eat shit. He's going like 100 miles an hour, and I get like, mom, like, I'm like, you're gonna hurt yourself. Like, calm down. What do you think about skateboarding in the Olympics?
Sure, why not? I mean, it's just, I mean, what it's way past due. I mean, like, come on, like Olympics, they're cool, but like skateboarding is already a more than Olympic thing. I mean, it's people from everywhere nowadays. Like, it's not like just because this thing came along 4 years, every 4 years, like you can get a gold medal. I don't know. It's oddity, but at the same time, it's like, it's overdue. Hope it's fun for them.
But that kind of locks depth. I mean, skateboarding is obviously a sport now, but I kind of always thought of it more as an art. I feel corny even saying that out loud. But there's always kind of a battle between art and sport, right?
Right.
But part of me is like, dude, go get the money, kids. If you get paid to go skateboarding for your country. But isn't that weird? Because it's the same sport that like you get kicked out of for doing or like arrested just for carrying a skateboard, and now it's the new Little League.
Yes, I'm full agreement. But
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, hopefully it's fun for him. I don't know, man. I mean, I skateboarding already seems to be just bigger than like to me than the
Yeah.
Olympics can be already offered. So it's just another, I guess, way to get something, in the eye of the people.
You
Cool.
saw you saw I started, I mean, I was 6 when I started, so it was like 88. So, but I mean, if you call that really starting, but like first time pushing having a real board. But I've seen
Mhm.
the peaks and valleys go, like, skateboarding dying off. Do you think it's going to die again like it did in the 90s?
No,
Yeah, right. I don't know
no.
either.
It's like, I don't know. It's like that mentality is kind of just like, it's been thrown into the mainstream, because I compare kind of skateboarding to that. So I think like it's just going to keep growing. I mean, it's just people are bored. I mean, with conventional things, I think. But I mean, I'm not trying to like, downplay any other athleticism than anyone else. But I just think that, as time goes on, we'll all have more fun with it and it'll continue to evolve.
That's a very Tao way of looking at it. I'm jealous because I'm like, I have this weird. And I can't even skate much anymore because I'm just being blown out body. Like I need to come see you for some acupuncture.
Okay.
But you don't have any feelings of like this is our thing,
This is our thing.
like compared
Like,
to
you
like
mean,
commercial companies coming in,
oh,
and call it raping
yeah.
the sport.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's not like it took me a long time to, cave, I think, what I mean? So I would try like a, brand over like something I know was a more like back in the day, skater operated, you know what I mean? But,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's really, I mean, all that bad of a thing. I mean, I'm just like, it, we've gotten to where we are, you know, it's just, as long as everyone's having fun, let's just keep going.
Jeez, I need some of that. I need some of that Buddha juice, dude. Like I really, I'm in. I'm in for Dave Coyne. I mean, this is. It speaks volumes about you and your character, sir. It's very. You seem at peace. Oh, what happened? Hey, Max White here. We had some technical difficulties with Dave. So what we had to do is we'd stop filming that night, and then 2 days later we kind of picked up where we left off. So just going to roll right into it. Take a second to hit that subscribe button below. Thanks a lot for watching, and keep enjoying this episode with Dave Coyne. Thanks a lot. Hell yeah. Part two. Part two. For those that have seen the first
Don't
part,
say.
we had some technical difficulties, and so we're back a couple days later, and just as excited as ever. My guest tonight is Mr. Dave Coyne. How are you doing today?
Doing good, man.
Yeah,
Doing good.
thanks so much for coming back again. This is great. We got another chance to talk more. Yeah, I want to get right into it, Dave. I want to go back to, so we had talked before, we kind of did like a broad spectrum, like a range of everything that had kind of occurred before, but I want to go specifics into, David had written me something like notes on I had some questions, and he very, very kindly sent me some answers, and then like how do you explain like a story? It's not a story because it's your life, but an outline for kind of how skateboarding went for you. Is that an accurate representation?
I mean, yeah, like what I've been writing there is just like definitely I guess kind of timelined out to like where I don't know, I just was just a kid in Ohio not knowing what the hell I was gonna do in my life to, getting to somewhere way beyond, your wildest dreams. And again, I mean, so
Yeah. One thing I like we touched on in the first part, excuse me. But I want to go. I don't think we touched on like how did you first meet Chad Knight?
well, definitely like Sun Sports back in the day. Like
Yeah, okay.
Columbus had a skate park called Sun Sports. It was just like badass. I mean, and it was 2 hours from where I live, but I mean, when I was there as a kid, he was there, and if he was there, I mean, it was always just doing ridiculous shit. I mean, like, I swear, one of the first things I can remember seeing him do when I was like, probably my first time at a skate park was a fucking front flip impossible to tail on this spine curb like ramp that was at the park. And I mean, it was just like, you knew like, oh man, like that dude's fucking, people. I mean, it was like a thing then, like, in skateboarding, in my opinion, because I don't know, he'd just grown up in a different world of it.
And he had told you, like, just kind of on the fly when you talk, like, if you ever get out west, hit him up and you can crash with him.
Yeah, it was kind of like that, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, I wrote him a letter. I maybe caught him on the phone once or twice and was like, try to get in as much as I could, and then it was just like ding dong.
And then, like, him and his girl picked you up from the Greyhound after you had lost all your personal belongings, everything other than your skateboard and your backpack, but your traveler's check. Like, I didn't know about the traveler's checks. You had $700 total.
Those?
What's that? I remember them. I
like,
had them. I remember that. But first time I went to Europe, I had like $100 in traveler's checks, and they never came out of my bag. I was 16. But so your traveler's checks were taken. You had $700 total that you had worked up saving to move out west. You are in a Greyhound that they were over capacity, so they left your bags on the curb, saying that they would be on the next bus going out, and then you never saw them again.
Correct.
Yeah,
and it was my fault.
But what I liked is like when you had told me that you had met this like shaman on the bus, like the guy that showed you the way. Like, tell me more about him, about this.
Yeah, he was just like this dude that like I'd always wanted to meet. Like, you know what I mean? He was like this activist. He was like a young, like, I don't know, dude, just out like I think doing protests. He was like, telling me things about like I was just like, wow, like people, I didn't have any other worries or cares with skateboarding. Like this guy was like just really woke from back then, you know what I mean? And I was just, kind of stoked of like ridden along this journey with him on the bus. And I do remember, I know his name because I wrote it down. I think I might have got his address. And I mean, this is, I don't know. It's ridiculous, man. It was so totally a cool thing just to like.
But the way you had told me about it in the message was that you kind of always wanted to meet someone like this. And that resonated with me because I remember like moving out to California when I was 17 and like you being a kid from the Midwest as well, not to presume that we are similar, but in that we're from the same type of area, but you're looking for this like California attitude that you'd seen like, embodied in movies. And the way you had told me about him, it's like, he's the guy. Like he taught you how to smoke weed from fruit.
Yeah. Oh God, it was just joyous, man. Like, dude. Yeah, you haven't got to where I really met my first like weed dealer, my first real shop.
I got it all.
Like,
I went through all of it more than once.
Oh, wow. Okay,
we're gonna go through it. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Yeah, he was definitely that like slice of something that I was like looking for, and was blessed to find because like he was just of a different mind state and just I don't know, kind of hopefully hopefully he's out there doing something great. I don't know. I've always wondered. Like he's like one of those people you always wonder about.
I remember when I first moved to California, I was with my friend, and we were driving in the desert in his like kind of shitty old Jeep, and he crashed it. We were like jumping, he crashed it, and we were gonna go out and do something. I can't remember what we were doing, like going to the hot springs or something. But he had like totaled his Jeep, right? And like I'm from Michigan, so like if our car's not running well, like we feel sick. We have this weird. It's like Midwest thing where like if the car's not running right, we're not running right. And I remember being like, oh dude, I think I have AAA and like it'll work. Like I can call them. And he's like, dude, what are you talking about? And I'm like, your car is fucking broken. He's like, we'll deal with it later. And I was like, what? And like it didn't even. He was like, dude, we're not gonna fuck up the hot springs. Like we're not. And I was like, for me, that was my first experience with a California person, and that like it wasn't immediate. It's like what I always thought it would be like, but it, often when you meet something you look forward to, it doesn't present itself in the way that it is, like.
Right.
And I just remember like the whole time I'm in the hot springs, it was like me, him, and this girl. I think it was maybe some other friends, and I was just like, dude, I need to stop talking about the car. It's not even mine. Why do I even care? And he certainly doesn't. But like in my mind, I'm angling. I'm like, I wonder if we could get him to like say that it's a side road, even though it's a dirt road. So that story to me about the guy resonated deeply, and I'm so excited to talk about that.
Cool.
Did you ever see that guy again, or any contact afterwards?
No.
He was just a Greyhound shaman.
Yeah, like, and he was like a younger dude. It was just a whole new like ideal system that I'd always dreamt about, like someone being so like free and open and like just caring and doing things for the world rather than just having like, he seriously would just call me Beavis. Like he was just like, all right, Beavis, let's go You know what I mean? It's like take the apple and like I don't know, man. Like just taught me shit.
Now, is this like something like this is something that happened to me? Like when I first went from Midwest weed, which we call it Chi-Town Brown, which is like
Okay,
dirt brick weed with seeds. You'd smoke it, it would pop when
Mackie.
you're little.
Yeah,
But then when I went out to California and smoked real weed, and like it just put me on my ass. Is that a similar experience
yeah,
for you? Has weed always been kind of present in your life?
yeah. I mean, strangely enough, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's um, but and yeah, it took us a while to actually find like, you know, I mean, there were like there was it was all about what you could buy. You know what I mean? Like for me, like it was just like, you know, if someone was like, I don't know, had more money, they would get the chronic. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or some
Yeah.
sort of like and you know, you would see buds like, you know, as they are now, like very sporadically, like you know, everything that, you know, we would see would be sort of okay. Just, you know, kind of just a bag and just some kind of like broken up brick kind of weed kind of stuff. I
Yeah.
don't know. It wasn't definitely a different world, man, in that sense. Jesus.
Now,
But
this is
go
something. this, this is something that was interesting to me about this because I would not have known had you not sent me this message, and I keep alluding to it, and I want to pull this apart. So when you made the decision, before you made the decision, you got this idea of moving out west, taking up Chad Knight on his invite to move out west. You did something to convince yourself that you were capable of making big life changing
on. Oh
decisions.
yeah, dude.
Tell
Dude, yeah,
tell us
totally.
what was that decision?
It was like a really drunken or like hungover, I don't know, decision. I don't know. I think it was just on my deathbed from a hangover. And so I was like, man, and but at the same time in the back of my mind, I was like, man, I know if I, you know, kind of make this like, I don't know, take this step, I'll like have the balls to do what I want to do. So yeah, I got a Prince Albert at like 19, like I think. I don't know. I was in Akron, Ohio. It was a night the night before I'd gone out. I think we drank Mad Dog 2020s, like, and I've never been sicker. Like, you know what I mean? And I was just like next morning, just like I must have brought it up the night before, and people were like, "Yeah, you're still gonna do this?" So I was like, "Fuck it," you know what I mean? I was just like, "I guess I can do it because I'm gonna do this." And even though I probably felt like hell, and I remember it was a bloody mess the next morning after that. Like it was just
So wait, but so everyone knows what a Prince Albert is, and I don't know why it's named Prince Albert, but it's a dick piercing. But which way?
through the hole and down the shaft a bit. Like
Damn.
I don't know. Yeah, like I don't. I have no idea to this day.
Well,
Like
so
why I was
like,
like,
so that was like that's like okay, if I can do this, I can definitely move to California. Like,
yeah, it was
so
like one of those things. It's like if I'm willing to, you know, go take this step, this, you know, endure this pain, like I can, you know, I don't know. I guess take the adventure like by the storm. And
fuck yes.
I don't know why. I really can't. There was just it was that time of like you know there wasn't mental health back then.
There
Like
was,
people
it
didn't
just
know
wasn't
anything
called
about like
that.
you know what I mean. Like I'd grown up so like Catholic and like just raised in like middle American normalcy in a way that I was just like I gotta break this shit up. And I don't know, man. Sometimes you know
Sometimes you
sometimes
got
you
to pierce
pierce.
your dick before you get on a Greyhound. Dude, did anyone know like once you got to California what you had done?
I think eventually or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
they didn't
mean,
know
you know
that
what
it
I
was
mean?
like the catalyst for you making the move, right? So like could you
I don't think I really was like you know, was put it like that, I guess. But I don't know, probably was. I can't remember that. Like I
yeah.
just know I was like there and I was just like every day, like, what am I doing with this? But
Hell yeah. Okay, I'm gonna be looking at my notes here because I made notes on what you had sent me, and we can edit some of this out, but we'll just kind of keep it natural on that because it's so fun to read about. You had a Y2 skate rats. You had coined this term. Can you just briefly describe what that is? That is a group I hadn't heard of before. Thought it was interesting.
oh no, I mean I'm just trying to like I was just, you know, with this writing or whatever, trying to make
Yeah.
up a term that would describe like what it was like the term, but you know, that 2 years before like 2000 where Y2K hit and like just how crazy the skate game got and like I don't know, just what was going on. Like, you know, things were like definitely moving and I don't know, but skateboarding was still like what I don't know, kept us all together. So it was like we were the Y2 skate rats. I don't know.
Dude, well, I like that because you talked about like you use the word Mecca a lot, like California the Mecca, and I remember that feeling because it's pre-social media, so like the only thing we would see footage-wise was what would come to the skate shop in like a tape, and it was always of like Point Loma, of like Carlsbad, like all these spots. The Mecca is like a good representation of that, I guess.
To me, it was like the palm trees, the having the beach right there. Like I mean, it was just like the ideal of like living like something like you would see in Chips.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Just like the line, and it was. I'm trying to think. What year was the VX invented? 2000. VX 1000 was like what? 2000, 2001. No. I'm sorry. No. It's earlier. It was invented for
I
Desert
remember
Storm.
the fisheye came out around like before 2000. Like the Def Lens.
Yeah.
So the VX was definitely around before that.
Yeah, I misspoke because I know I read an article once and it was saying Sony made the VX 1000. Someone should definitely correct me when they see this. But they made it for Desert Storm, so our special operations could carry it in like sandy war fronts and record. So that's why it's so bomb proof. That's just what I read somewhere a long time ago. I don't know if that's true. But was the Death Lens around then?
No, it didn't come out till I think later, like 98, end of 98.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just remember like seeing the first time of seeing like what's that?
Oh, at least that's when it. I remember Shaka's got one around that time, and we started filming with it. And
okay, wait. I'm gonna go. Wait through this. Again, these are my notes. So, give me a second here. We'll cut this together so it's a little bit quicker. What? Okay. I like this one about you had talked about when you first moved there, and then you went to Chad Knight's house. Well, they picked you up from the airport, or sorry, from the bus stop, and then you'd gone to the house, and the house would later become known as like the Cobra House.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I wasn't sure. So they were partying like every night. Were you drinking at the time or not drinking?
No, I was never like a heavy drinker. Like when I first got out there, like it wasn't. Okay. You know what I mean? Like I was totally chill. Like I was way more kicked back trying to smoke a bowl. Like if that was if I had enough money for that. So yeah, I don't know, man. It was crazy.
Oh, what's his or her name?
It was a Pirate.
Hi, Pirate.
Yeah.
Our Scott camera shot. What's is there like I like this because you stayed on the couch for 11 months at the Cobra House, right?
Yeah.
Is there any like advice you'd give to someone now, like a code of guy on the couch? Like any advice you'd give to someone else? I really like how you talked about how like in the morning you get up before everyone was like when they're all hungover and you would clean the house and then usually go for a skate.
Oh yeah. Like I would just let kindness rule. I mean that's the only thing I could think because it's I mean I was at the mercy of of others at that point. I mean just hanging in there and I would say whatever I could do to whatever help each person I could along during that time like I would like I guess I don't know just. But yeah, a lot of times I would clean the house, man. I would just try to keep things up to par, but I probably didn't even do a good job at it. I don't know. I was crazy.
I tell you, you're talking about like they'd come home like fucked up, and then they would like kind of like look for something to fuck with, and you'd be sober, and so sometimes you'd have to like hide in dirty laundry so they'd forget about you.
Yeah, man. I mean, just sometimes it worked. I mean, there was one time it worked for a long time. Like I probably caught a good nap, and then eventually I got found or.
So who all was that? Who's all like at the house? Like, so you're talking Chad Knight. Then who else was all there?
Yeah, and then I was trying to say before, it was like you walked in the house, and then to the immediate right would be like in the middle would be like a room. And it was Chad's room, and then to the right of that would have been another room, and that was like Shane and Larry. And then the room over here, I'm sorry, left. This is right. But so the room to the right would have been. It was Josh Casper and like this dude Brian Holt in one room. Chad had a room, and then these other two dudes had a room. Shane and Larry, Shane Morris and Larry Mullins they're both from PA actually. It's fucking cool. And then it was me, and then there was Scott, and then there was Garvey, and then there was.
And like you said too, they'd come home from the bar, and you'd start hearing like a high pitch. They'd say like, "What, Coinmeister?"
Yeah, it was always Coinmeister, and like. I don't know, man. It would, I would just know, like, oh shit, they are fucking lit. Like, you know what I mean? I need to kind of like stay low key as hell. So that was always the call. Wild.
I also like too, like, what was it like? You talked about this briefly, but like Josh Casper being the most established, I'd say, of the skaters that you were staying with at that time, and like trying to not be a fan, like playing it cool. Playing it cool has
Yeah.
never been one of my strong suits, so I
Me neither.
immediately the story resonated with me. but I kind of like how you described that to me. If you can share about that a little bit about like
Well, yeah, I mean, like, 20 shot sequence or whatever had come out. He had that big part. Like he was kind of like, at the high point of, or the beginning of the high point of his skating. And, it was just so random that he lived with Chad, and like, he was, he was a nice guy, but like, I didn't want to like try to overkill and try to, I don't know, I guess, invade his space ever. You know what I mean?
yeah
So I kind of kept back and like, but at the same time, I was like, oh my God, like, we'd go skating and he would do like a fucking tray flip down a double set, like instantly. He'd be like what, just, it was awe, you know what I mean? And like, and he was just a different kind of like dude, you know what I mean? He was like definitely a different kind of Californian dude, like, but he had the perfect, like bleach blonde hair. It was just, I don't know, man. He was a different character altogether.
was he getting like those big checks back then at that time, or was that before?
Yeah, I don't think it was that. He wasn't that big. Like he had just turned pro, like when I moved out there. Like, and it
Okay.
was like on a whim, and it was still like a lot of the industry didn't know who Josh Casper was. Like he had just popped up in that blind spot, if I'm correct. I mean, of course, though, like he had like, there's shop things that we don't know about, like that he was in probably in videos, but that's all I can remember being like, well, this dude rides for World Industries, an umbrella of World Industries, and it's like
Yeah.
it's blind for no doubt. Like he kicks it with Krieger, and goes on tour, like talks to Rodney Mullen. It was just like a person who was just like, wow, like he just seemed more established in the sense of like, I don't know. I guess he was probably getting a little bit more money too. I don't know.
Did
He
you ever
was
meet
funny,
Steve
man.
Rocco?
No,
No.
I did
Okay.
not.
That's the blind era is so fucking insane. We didn't talk about that in the first part of this, and then I was thinking, reading what you're saying, I was like, holy shit, I forgot that was like all when that first started, with Casper's part. Let me see here. Something else you had mentioned too was how you first got like noticed through Jeff Kula and Jamie Thomas.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, like, was
And
Jamie Thomas
I
something
wasn't
like you?
even noticed, whatever. It was, we had known Kula or something. We had met him. He had been through high once. And then I think he brought Jamie through one time. Are you frozen?
Yeah, I think if it'll lag a little bit, we'll stop for a second. It's good now. How about now? Is it working?
Okay. Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, it was when I lived in Akron before the Prince Howard. I remember I'd like, we met Jamie Thomas and Kula up skating in Cleveland one day. We were, I don't know what we were doing, whatever, but it was a planned out thing. And then we somehow met Kula, and he kind of like would come down to Akron and kick it with us. And I just always kept in touch with Kula. It was crazy. Love that dude. I don't know. Do you know Kula, by the way?
I don't.
Jeff
No,
Kula?
I don't.
No?
I was
Okay.
when I saw it in here, I was psyched because I don't know much about him at all.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
he's from Boston. I don't know. Like, and I don't know what they were doing. Like, he was a photographer back then. And that was like a big thing to have like some sort of like photographer from who you knew like had stuff published, come around or whatever. So,
yeah.
we wanted to go kind of see what that was about. And that's how we met them one day. And I think Jamie filmed a trick, and it was in the Transworld video too. Way back then, man.
What was that like? Because Jamie Thomas obviously is known for being like very intense.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think I wrote it down. Like the only thing he said to me was like, "You ever been west?" And I was like, "No." I'm like, "What do you mean?" Like I was like, "I go west every day if I, on the interstate."
Are you sure he didn't tell you to pierce your dick and then you can move out? Because that sounds
You know what?
that sounds very Jamie Thomas. Hey, dude, you want to skate for us? You got to pierce your dick and then you can come out west. Yes, sir. All right, I'm gonna keep going through it just like we're doing now. Fill in at any little part. But
Okay.
I love what you wrote. I'm psyched on it. So okay, wait. I got my notes here. Wait, stand by. I'm going through here. Wait, 1 second. What about okay, so fast forward to Cobra House, right? You
Yeah.
talked about like the first session you went to was Point Loma, right? That was the first. Yeah.
It
So
was like my first Saturday or something like that. Yeah.
we had talked about a little bit in the first part, but I kind of want to expand on this more because I've been thinking a lot about it. What was like filming like back then? Was it because you had talked like I noticed in this that when you first got noticed, I think it was like what Switch Front 3 was that, and you didn't wait for anyone to film it. Wait,
Oh well, yeah, no, I think it was. I did a switch flip. That was Washington School. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, at Washington School,
yeah.
and so you had this like attitude, which I fucking love that you didn't even think that like anyone that you deserved to be filmed. You were just skating to skate, like throw your bones down, something to do it.
Yeah, like it was
Yeah,
like, oh my God, I'm at this spot that like you've only seen in videos, and you know that like pros have skated, and you're just like, oh my God, like I'm in like this like terradome, and you want to tear it up.
do you remember that feeling though of like when they're like, dude, you didn't let me film it? Like, can you go back to when you first realized, like,
Oh,
fuck, they want to point a camera at me?
um, I don't know. I mean, well, do you mean like just in general? Like when was the time when I said don't film? Or wait, I'm trying to think like
No, so I
of
guess
a good
specifically what I'm asking
situation.
is like when you did that. So when you switch frontside flip down that Washington at Washington, and then I think you'd wrote, and again I don't have it right in front of me. It's a little bit lower down in my notes, but basically you just did it to do it, did it to do it. But then they're
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh, we want to film this. Like, do you remember that feeling of being like, I'm one of them. They want to film me.
No, because it wasn't at that point. Like that was like maybe my first weekend, and I was like, "There's no way." Like I mean, there was too much uncertainty. It was just get it. It was like, don't worry about what they're doing. Just do you. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
guess was my whole motto of like
Fuck yes.
live each spot like to its fullest because you never know when you have to go fuck home.
Yeah. um. What about so like this one session you were like never will forget seeing ST legend Marcel Johnson nollie hard flipping and talking about quaaludes. Like these like
That was my first session in San Diego, honestly. And that was like again, like just I mean, everybody who I would have known for the next 11 years was all there in one day. Like just uh and it was just amazing to see like the way different ways people skated, and like I mean Marcel especially, I mean just like popping like stuff where it was just like what's going on out here, like what are they doing, it's different. And then him just being so just like what up dude, just so relaxed and just being like like I don't know if he was joking about the quaaludes, he just thought it was funny, but
yeah.
yeah, he was always saying that. It was like his catchphrase back then or something. I don't know, him and Chad would bicker like, oh like dude, just it was just ridiculous, man.
And so, like in that same sense, you talk about the session where it's like two of my favorite skaters, Tyrone Olson and Canteen Russell, were there alongside Dave Mayhew, Dan Connolly, Aaron Snyder, and Brian Emmers.
Yeah.
Like, who gets an intro to Southern California like that?
Believe me, man, I was like, I'm tripping. Like, you know what I mean? It was like, it was just, it was insane, man. Like, I can't.
Sometimes when you see skateboarding, like in videos, and you see it in person, it doesn't do it any justice. And then sometimes the opposite can be true. You're like,
Right.
oh, like, was it just pure mayhem when you saw it, like the first time, like in real life?
Oh,
Was it
yeah.
what
I
was
mean,
it what you thought
like,
it would be, or is it way more?
oh, way, way more. And I mean, it was like, it was scary more. Like, you know what I mean? Because, like, I had some, people I've grown up with, we skated, but it was just a different level out there. Like, you know what I mean? Especially like, I mean, like I'm saying, like I saw Small like just skating by and doing like front blunt, fucking kickflip out. Like it was like, eating a ham sandwich. Like,
On
I
a
don't know.
bike
Like,
rack.
yeah, scary. And just like, I'd never seen a bike rack on its side flipped over. Like I'd never seen anything like that before. I mean, the benches that they skated, like it was different, man. But it was a fun little spot.
You also talked about too, like that, and this is something I guess I never thought of before. All this, and I've skated LA a lot more than I've skated San Diego, but the schools didn't have fences around them, so you could just drive up and be on the spot.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
man.
and so like, there was no bus. They didn't give a shit.
I mean, it was a bus, but I mean, it was like you would just go to the other side of the thing, and
Yeah.
then it would just like people would just invade back over, like, you know, especially I remember Correa, like not Correa, Crawford, maybe it was a Crawford school where these benches, like, you know, people would always get kicked out or whatever. But before, you know, it didn't have a fence, and like there was a 7 out in the front that a lot of people skated, and you know, it was just you could just mob around schools back then. Like you didn't, I don't know, you didn't have to hop a fence. It was crazy. It was so much
Fucking
better.
insane. Okay, wait. I hope this works for you. I'm just going through the notes I made. I'm asking you about it because this is so sick. Um, wait. Okay, wait. I love this part. There's nothing like waking up in February to warm Santa Ana winds and California sunshine, especially when you have no agenda but to skate. Like that, I remember that first time under a California sky. Like I remember being like, this is the place of eternal nice day. Like, I mean, I wish I could convey that to everybody if I were a better speaker or a writer, but the way you wrote it there, like it made me remember that. And do you think back then, because everything isn't so instant, there's no social media back then, and it was all just kind of like video capsule, that change in that culture shock, I feel like it would have been a lot more shocking then than it would be now. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. I mean, you know, there's so many more outlets to find what you're looking for with, you know,
Yeah.
social media and just technology. So it's like, yeah, I mean, you know, waking up that first morning was like nothing else I'd ever, you know, could have comprehended, because it was like, it was just that awesome and beautiful, and just, it's February. And you're like, this, how can this happen? How can this be happening?
Just t-shirt.
Like,
And you
I'm
like
not
you
freezing.
left you got on that bus in Ohio in February and got out there. Like there's not a better month to make that change.
Yeah.
And it's over
February's
there.
coming back to Cali.
Can you remember this? And this might be a stretch, but like you talked about the first morning you woke up, you kind of woke up and then you would just clean the house to kind of do your part of being the guy on the couch. But then you talked about going skating that morning. Like, do you remember that? Can you like that feeling of like the freedom of it, of just going for a cruise in Southern California?
Blue skies, man, clouds, just warm air, just this like kind of like a different dryness that, you know, I'd never experienced, you know what I mean? Just with the wind on the face, and just, I would say, the colors. I mean, God, there's just so many different colors and palm trees, and just like oh man, it's, you want to take it slow, but you want to just keep going as fast as you can and just take it all in. I mean, it's fucking, it was awesome, man. Like,
And I love it. I like how we talked about how, but you take all that in, you drink all that life in, and that change from where you're from, and then you go back to the house and everyone's still sleeping.
yeah, it's like, do you guys not know it's,
Yeah.
what I mean, but you know,
A California blue sky is indescribable. Like, talk about this. This is I really like. So, religion played a big part in your life, and does it still?
I mean, I don't, you know, I wouldn't say I'm religious anymore.
But
I mean,
I guess you had mentioned being
like,
Catholic and moving out there, and you'd still go
Yeah.
into church on Sundays. So like the church of Cobra House on Saturday night, and then the Catholic church on Sunday morning. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's almost typical, but I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really, I just stay in one bubble now, so I don't know. I
Are
don't
you
know.
like, because you only had like one set of clothes because you had lost your bag on that transit, and then you had borrowed
Yes.
clothes from Chad, I believe, right? Or he'd given you
Oh,
some maple gear.
yeah, well,
But like, paint the picture of church. Are you just going in there with like fucked up t-shirt from skating all the time and just?
no, I don't know. I might have like tried to look presentable, but you know what I mean? I definitely was with the skateboard, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, just in which was, you know, probably weird even back then for people, or was probably real weird for like some weird rat, like skate rat walks in, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Was there a reason that you just stopped going to church eventually?
I mean, you just kind of wake up to, I think, a light beyond what, you know, society has created. And a lot of it is, more of a Taoistic approach to everything. I mean,
Yeah.
just we're nature. We have to, we live in it. We are a part of it. We're part of everything. So, I mean, it's, just knowing that, like, you don't really need to focus on I believe like a God or a religion as far as like, to know your soul. Like, I think, you just, I don't know, you need to be open to the light and let your own light shine, I guess. I don't know.
Now, is that like you were raised in a religious household?
Pretty, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Like they drink the Kool-Aid, I like to say.
Yeah. I always struggle with this myself because like I'm not religious. I wasn't raised religious, but I almost feel like how nice it would be to be religious because you don't have to think anymore. Like it's just it's like faith is the suspension of critical thinking. Like you can just give it up to the Almighty.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. But I mean, but Catholicism, they get you that Catholic guilt, and that just, and that just, and then you're always just kind of bagging on yourself. It's just like, dude, I don't know, man. I don't want to say anything bad about the way if love is what you're preaching, or if love what you're teaching, like I don't mind what you're preaching, but there's just, I don't know, so many things that have happened where you're just like, I don't like organized religion much.
Yeah. I was going to make a Catholic Church joke, but I'm not going to. I'm better than that. Have you seen the movie Spotlight?
Yeah.
It's a true story that the Boston Globe, they basically, they uncovered the Catholic Church and all the assault going on, and they uncovered all the Catholic Church basically systematically moving churches around or moving priests around that were molesters to hide them from the law. And I found out the church where I'm from that we used to skate is one of them. It's in the end of the movie.
Jesus.
Crazy. Crazy thing. How ugly of a kid I was.
Could have been diddled.
I got no story. They didn't come up to old ugly Max.
Yeah, I never got diddled either. So I mean, we could start a club.
All right, we're gonna keep going down the side. I like this. What? This is kind of on the topic. What? You kind of talked about roles in skate teams, like the first time you met a team manager, right? Like it was Maple Team. I think it was a Maple Team.
Yeah.
Like before you talk about that specifically, was there did you think that these guys did skateboarding seem like a real job to you? Like not for you personally, but from what you thought of Chad and these other guys, going to be like?
Well, I mean, yeah, there was a lot. I thought it was a lot more. I mean, I figured Chad was somebody different for sure. Because I thought he was about I don't know, about skating, you know what I mean? Like all the time, because that's just where I was in life. And then, meeting Ed Dominic the first time, it was just you think with being a photographer and wanting to shoot photos of people skating, you'd want to breed the skating, you'd want to push it. But it was there was never this rush. It was just kind of la-di-da. Where yeah.
And
I don't know, man.
And you had talked about back then it was to be a photographer is one thing. You're shooting real film, which you got to be on your A game when you go to skate. Like you had said in the first part, which I'm gonna keep referencing, and people have already watched by now, so fuck them if they don't like me repeating it. But basically, you knew shit was going down if there was rolls of film on the ground when you show up to a spot.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah. But then what I also like is you mentioned that like to be a good photographer was one thing, but the photographers had to have a good relationship with the magazines.
Oh yeah, I would think. I mean, back then, it just seemed more core.
Yeah.
There there was always I don't know, or maybe I just never paid attention to. I thought, yeah, it was definitely certain photographers work for certain companies, or certain mags, it was just, I don't know, I learned a lot.
Yeah.
But
do you have any skate photos that stand out to you that's just I know I'd asked you last time any clips that you were there, legendary tricks, spots you're there, any skate photos to you that always kind of go out that you're always oh, I was there, or you remember doing?
Oh yeah, let's see. Shit. I remember seeing Mark Johnson. I was there the day Mark Johnson switched tray flipped the La Jolla double set. I remember like, yeah, it was like, I forget what it was for. Might have been an Old America ad, or I don't know. I forget where he was on what you know what I mean, but it was switch tray flip. There's a brick double set, 3-flat-3 in La Jolla, and it was pretty famous. Like, I think, you know what I mean, like a lot of people skated it. I know, like, picture of me, I think, you know, with Mike Burnett doing like a nose grind down this like beach hubba onto the sand with like wood we had gotten there somehow. I mean, that was, I don't know, like one of my favorite photos that, you know,
Wait,
I've
that's
ever been
also
part of.
that clips in Black Hat, right?
What?
The down the hubba that goes down the sand with the wood. Is that what you're
No,
talking
I
about?
think that's in tactical. I think it was in
Oh,
tactical
damn.
manual.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
That spot looks rowdy. Just the fact that you looked at sand and you're like, let's get some wood. Do you remember getting, where do you get the wood from for that? I'm gonna ask the nerd
Those are
question.
the things where I'm like, I can't remember. Like, I remember you just make calls and like, you know what I mean? Be like, hey, can someone get a truck? And, you know, blah, blah. You would just try to line it up, and
Yeah.
somehow like, you know, Snow or somebody or Cody would somehow end up showing up with a van or truck full of stuff. And I don't know, there was like, I don't know. I only skated that thing a couple of times. It was fun. But one time I got to see John Cardiel try to nose slide it. And he was there that day, I believe. It was so amazing.
Damn. What about ethics? Like spot ethics? Like I always associate that more with like East Coast. I always think of like Ricky Oyola and like no wheels.
Well,
on
let's
the
just say I
sledge.
had none. Let's just say I was like, hi, glad to meet you. Probably talked to you too much, probably snaked you, probably like, I don't know, you know, in the beginning, because I didn't know any better. But yeah, there were definitely ethics.
Youthful exuberance.
Oh, I remember, never go when the plane is flying over.
That's so funny because sound on the audio.
Yeah, because all you hear
Damn.
is like everyone like, and it's the sickest trick, but you got to do it again.
Do you remember how you learned that specifically? Did you fuck up? Did you land something while it was happening?
No, I think, you know what I mean, I would just notice, or you know, that, you know, people wouldn't be filming, like, you know what I mean, everyone would kind of just like, I don't know, kind of huddle in an area or whatever while the planes were going over. It was like the chill time. Like, plane would be going over like Korea, I think, and like or Point Loma. They'd go over and like chill for like a second, get a drink of water, and then be back up the stairs. Or I don't know, man.
So sick. Okay, wait. Going down. Wait, wait, keep going through. This is a weird. This is. I'm gonna call it. This is a dumb question. What was the difference in food when you moved from Ohio to California? Was that shocking?
Totally. I mean, avocados, quesadillas. What else? Just salsa in general.
Yeah. What the fuck is quesadilla?
Like, you can burrito that. I mean, it was like, you know what I mean? Everything was like, life turned into a burrito. But besides all the peanut butter and jelly that I lived off of, I'm sure.
Yeah, I like that you're talking about how like basically you had budgeted where you were on like the 5 PG and PB and J's a day, but then just so you could have good weed to smoke.
Yeah, and that wasn't even the good weed. It was just to get some sort of weed.
How much did weed cost back then? I wonder.
I remember we'd get like either twomps or like, you know what I mean, like, so like you'd get either like a nickel,
20?
I know, a 20, yeah, 20, like a twomp, or you know, an eighth was always around 50. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what. Okay, I feel like it's the same thing. It's not crazy. It's not like the early 1900s where it's like 2 bits, like that Willie Nelson thing. I remember when a dime bag was a dime. Wait, this one else. Wait, you see Brian Reed? Okay, so I went in depth, right? I went in depth on the D3. Okay.
Okay.
After we had talked 2 days ago, I went down the rabbit hole because I apparently in the documentary I watched and some other things I read, it was not a lotto that I was told it was. There's actually quite some contention between who got credit for it, Mayhew or Brian Reed.
Right.
Either way, it's a fucking ugly shoe.
If
But
you're a rave though, dude, it's awesome.
I know, dude. There's like
If you're just like,
you can like you can hang your pacifier off of it. It's perfect. But they like, did you skate the D3 a lot?
no, I mean, I skated like maybe the ones I didn't never skated the ones with the lace loops. I didn't like it. I mean,
Yeah.
and it, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger. It was like I don't know. I like a more simple shoe, I guess. I don't know,
Yeah.
but a lot of controversy there on that
Yeah, dude,
shoe.
I didn't know like the all. I just watched this Brian Reed documentary they put out with Bison. Like Mayhew's in it for a little bit, but it was interesting. Like I remember though, because my skate shop that I grew up working at, we got the originals, not the 2001s. Like they were just like the first ones coming out, and I was just like, ew, and like everybody was like, ew, like no one bought that shit. And then they took it off. And then in that documentary, they talked about like how in 2001 they brought it back, and that's when all the rave kids would come in and buy it. And like I remember that. I remember like that specifically. Was there?
Fred Durst, man, I think dropped it like some Limp Bizkit video. It was just like
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I remember like it was back in that era. I mean, something was going on. I
could
don't
you
know.
so like similar to SB now, where like all the Nike riders sell their Nike SB shoes to like pay rent? Sorry, guys. Were people doing that to
I'm an
Osiris
eight.
as
I'm
well?
an eight.
Were you
So
like?
wait,
Were
I'm
you? Were
sorry.
you? What's up?
What's the question again? I'm
Were
sorry.
you trunking? Were you selling
Oh,
D3s to pay
dude,
rent?
no, no, I wasn't. I mean,
Is that
I
like a no, or is that like a
like
no?
it's a what were you thinking? No, like because like hell yeah, I should have been. I mean, I
Yeah.
think I sold a pair one time at a demo to some like this like Mexican dude who was like, oh, my kid really wants those, blah blah blah. And I was like, I made a game of price. He said $15. I said sure. Like
Yeah.
I was just like, I don't know. I'm never gonna skate these. Like make a kid happy. I don't know. Like, but yeah.
Those things, dude, those D3s were with that kid all the way through his drug habits. You enabled him. Okay. We'll move off of the D3. I've talked enough about it, but I'm interested. Um, do you remember? Yeah, because you wrote it.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Wait, there's something I really. My notes suck
Damn,
on this iPhone.
I can't believe you read all that.
Dude, I love this shit. I'm psyched. Um,
I'm trying to go all the way up to the storm and then just be like, that's it. Curtains.
to be continued. Oh, talk about. Okay. I don't want to give that guy any credit. I was gonna ask you about Danny Way.
1D way, man.
Yeah, that dude. Wow, he's something. Ooh. Okay. Yeah. This will be broken in parts. First time you met Chad Muska.
Oh yeah, that was that day at the Washington school,
Damn.
and it was just like I don't know what to compare it to, but it was just like this like I don't know this other thing showed up. This like I don't know, man. I think he had probably a ghetto blaster. I mean, it was for real, like what you would expect. Like it was not a letdown at all of how much like fun that dude brought around. And I mean, it was just I don't even know who all was with them, like what homies, but I remember people like sitting over on this fucking table like smoking something, and they were like, "Hey, you want to hit this?" And I was like, "There's nothing more in the world I want to do, but I kind of wanted to stay skating, and but it was just like I can't believe like I got asked to smoke weed with the Mosca, and I said no. Like, oh man."
Dude. And Muska was ahead of his time in like more than one reason. Like he skated with a COVID mask long before COVID was even a thing.
Yeah.
Fucking so sick.
Next level shit.
Dude. Did you skate for Pig Wheels?
They just flowed me stuff, and that was like, from Pig is how I kind of got on the foundation.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, because I remember going down to like Tumieto, and we'd see like Mark Waters and like Josh Beagle, and they would, he was always giving Chad stuff, and Beagle was so funny, man. Like I remember he like, eventually would just flow me like a wheel or some wheels or so, and then they'd give them to Chad. I remember we filmed. I think I had a couple clips in the Pig video, and like maybe they felt like hey, we'll flow this guy off some wheels every, month or so. And so that was really kind of like, I guess, one of the first things with Pig. So, but I mean, once I hit it's like changed to Maple, it was like, I mean, of course, Tomioto is not going to be allowed anything to do with me. So it's like,
Yeah,
I don't know. And of course, I didn't know what I was doing. So it's all good though.
that's
That was a
funny.
lot. That was a lot. I'm sorry. I
No, it
definitely
wasn't.
rambled.
I love that. No, I want. I'm asking you every nerdy question that young me would ask you. So I apologize in advance. Um, this whole
Look,
time, like the 11 of the wait, you were at Cobra House for 11 months, and that you were in San Diego for 11 years, right?
yeah, yeah.
So how of all this time, how much of that time were you working at rallies or like a fast food job?
Oh, that I mean, that only lasted probably a month or two, because I think into April, I think, yeah, yeah, it only lasted like 2 months because I was terrible at that job and I
Yeah,
hated it. But I mean, it's just so crazy that I met like this one dude, Rich, and his like brother Chris, and this whole gang of dirt rats that I don't know, we're still homies. Like,
yeah, and you had mentioned too that you'd sometimes skate with those guys, but then sometimes you go skate with like the Cobra House guys and like the heavy hitting crew.
yeah,
It's kind of like two different worlds.
oh yeah, 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 totally
Yeah,
was.
was it weird bouncing back and forth and like did
No, I
those
mean, like,
guys, the dirt rat dudes, did those guys recognize that you were an up and coming to be pro soon?
no, I don't know if we. I mean, I think they just respected that I was there. Like, I mean, they just took me in, like, because they were younger than me. I think most of these dudes, and like, um, but they were from there, like the neighborhood, and like they just we. I don't know, man. I wouldn't say there was no expectations. You know what I mean? It was just doing what you were doing, and it eventually grew. So I don't know, man. They definitely it was definitely different worlds, like for sure. But it was more fun, like sometimes with these dudes, because it was just they were just go and skate like something weird, you know what I mean, and wild, like, and just when you went skating with like Chad, and then it was like spots, you know what I mean. It was definitely different, and I don't
Yeah.
know, but I enjoyed both worlds. Let's just say that.
Hell yeah. That's sick. You still keep touch with those guys?
Yeah, a couple of the dirt rats for sure.
Did what music was like a big part of your life back then? Any bands in particular?
Oh yeah, I mean, I definitely grew up. I'd say like in like Chili Peppers, Violent Femmes, and then gravitating more into like when it came to hip hop, like De La Soul, and like eventually like Wu Tang, and then from there, I mean, I didn't really listen to too much heavy metal, but um, it was. I guess I like a range of everything. So,
Yeah.
and back then, like those, like I remember the Far Side, like whatever you'd learn about from like 411s and stuff. Like I mean, that's kind of like the rabbit holes you would chase. Like I mean, for when it came to music back then, I think.
Like now it's weird because like skateboarding has borrowed so much from hip hop, but now it's almost backwards. Like hip hop is like totally on the skate style. It's been for years now. And now it's like they're interchanging. You've got like, clips of Virgil Abloh, whatever, the Louis Vuitton creative director skating, and like skating is so cool now. But like was hip hop like were you guys hanging out with any like rappers back then, like in San Diego, or was it as close to this as
Oh,
now?
I mean,
Or just
Tyrone had a
Musco?
crew. No, I mean, it was like I remember like Tyrone had a crew, like the Constructive Ruckus, like they were like this rap group that was, they were just like I guess kids that moved there and were doing their hip hop thing, and there were also like there's another crew in like Claremont, like they in the two, I guess the hip hop world and the skateboarders kind of intertwine a lot because
For sure.
people like just to party, so
Yeah.
um uh trying to think who or what, I mean, I didn't really say I'd met anyone like famous in hip hop until like years later when Osiris was around, and they did one of those convention parties or whatever like they used to have,
Like
and
ASR?
ASR. It was an ASR, and
I went to
I
those. Yeah.
remember Hieroglyphics played at like one of the Osiris parties, and I was
Yeah.
like, sick.
Yeah.
Live, like but I was never like a big huge music fan, like where I would go to like shows and stuff. So I mean, I don't know, it's weird.
Was there like one particular story with Osiris that it was like either with a celebrity or like a big musician that like an Osiris appearance you guys had was at the same time of, or
No, I don't think so.
yeah.
I don't think I can remember. I mean,
You're from the Midwest, you move out west, you become a pro, right? You're part of that group now. Going back to the Midwest, like what was that feeling like touring through the place where you used to be the kid on the other side of the banners? Like
what was it like to be on the other side?
from being a spectator to being the one that's that's skating.
Yeah, I hope to think I tried to stay humble about things, but I mean, it was definitely, I mean, it was just such a party by the time, like, things really started, we still really started touring. It was like, you didn't really think about it. You just kept rocking, man. Like it, I can remember like going back, and seeing my, home, like totally as a different place, like just as like a really, slow moving environment and like very, backwoods almost, you know what I mean? It was just, through the life that I was living out in California, you know what I mean? Like there was definitely like wow, this is, totally different, two different worlds. But I don't know. Skating wise, I think I was almost always stoked to see like come home though, to see like old spots though at the same time. Like, I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird one.
Did you ever get to bring like pros back with you to go see your spots?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. There was a couple Osiris trips where we stopped through and got to hit some of my hometown spots, which were still there at the time. I mean, it's gone now, man. Like my stomping ground has been just tore up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any spots stand out that when you're a little kid, you saw like people on a team with you on Osiris go through, and you're like, "Fuck, I should have done that there."
Mm.
I just remember seeing like when Zoo first came to my hometown, we went to like just the standard, like it's kind of like a flat bar rail, but like in a street spot. And
Okay.
I'd never seen anyone skate it without plywood. And then you take like I think it's probably the 1999 Zoo team, and like everyone was eyeing it up from the flat, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like just seeing everyone skate it properly. I want to say Jeff Pang got on it, and just like they weren't even filming; they were just fucking around. Like I was just like, wow, like the levels just ratchet up.
Well, yeah. I mean, anytime like Tyrone was around, I mean, just I don't know, man. It was, you just never knew what to expect. I mean, It was just everyone at that time was so like aggressively like trying to like do something that we were all just hyped and I guess trying to take it to the next level every time or everywhere we went. I don't know.
Financially, what was it like back then? Was it just felt like everything was taken care of and you didn't have to worry about it? Were people saving money? Or, I mean, everyone's different, but what was like the general vibe?
No way, man. No way. There was no saving money. Like
Yeah.
it was, you were spending, by the time I was making good money, I was spending, half of it on rent and then, the rest on alcohol. I mean, you were just partying. Like it was definitely, I mean, but then I guess there were other people who were like, Mayhew was probably, I'm sure he was saving, or like Matthias was saving, and like I'm sure people did save, but like, as like things got bigger and like people, kind of like drifted apart, it definitely changed like, what I guess, where money was going. But I don't think anyone was saving that much. I mean, unless you were making a bunch, like
Dave Mayhew
but from
seems,
some
Dave Mayhew seems like a guy with a 401k for sure.
I hope so.
Was there a disparity like once the D3 popped off and like the again, don't know, but are shoe royalties given individually? Like that if one shoe's doing great, the whole team's not doing great. Like that's how it is now. Was it like that back then?
Yeah, I think, what I mean, like if that person's shoe was doing good, that individual was doing really good. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
So
Yeah, but I mean, and then I don't know. I mean, I never had the honor of having a shoe, so I don't know. I couldn't really say firsthand. I mean, I hope they were getting what they were worth.
yeah. But was there a disparity in that like the people that didn't have pro models on the shoes, like obviously were living different than the people with it? Like Mayhew wasn't
Well, like,
flying
yeah,
on a
like
private
say,
jet,
like,
was he?
I could afford to live with three other people. You know what I mean? Like Chad could afford to live by himself.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, and yeah, and he could have. Yeah, I don't know.
I just picture like a D3 shaped private jet. Like, is that not how it was? Is that Um, okay. This is going back a little bit though. Once you were out there for a little bit, you had kind of told your parents like everything's cool, right? Like I'm fine. You didn't mention anything about losing the bus ticket or losing your traveler's checks, losing all of your personal belongings on that Greyhound
Nah.
bus. But when you finally told the truth to your parents, they offered you a deal to come back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what was the
It
deal?
was it was basically that perfect like college experience. Like, you don't even have to work. We'll come back, and I think they'd already sold my car by that point. So like, they were like, we'll get you another car. It'll be, you can, we'll send you, you need your education. They wanted me to be educated. And so, yeah, I was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, I like when you're saying that like you kind of played it cool, like not telling them. It's kind of more protecting them, you think, or was it kind of a way for you to?
Well, I mean, dude, I can only imagine what they were thinking. Like, where did he go?
Where did my son go? He's on the floor of the Cobra house. Did they know that you pierced your dick?
Well, no, not something I brought up at Christmas. No, jingle this.
I'm on the floor of the Cobra house in dirty laundry and my dick's pierced. That would be so cool. That would be that's so sick.
It was.
Yeah.
It
Okay,
was.
wait, I'm gonna keep going. Oh, all right. So everyone's out of town for the Tampa Pro, right? And then it's your 20th birthday.
Yeah.
Who takes you on a
So
special trip to TJ?
Josh Casper was like, "Hey, it's popping off at TJ tonight. You want to go?" And I was probably like, and probably, it's my birthday. I had a beer, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'll go." You know what I mean? And it was TJ,
Yeah,
Tijuana, Arriba.
dude, that shit goes. Like when you wrote that in there, like Revolution and everything, it was like, whoa, like. I lived in PB for like a few months, and I remember going down there, and I had like a blown knee, so I was doing rehab on my knee, and I went down there thinking that I'd be fine on like crutches, and like you don't want to be on crutches down there, like you can't participate in the fun. And I remember like dudes coming up to me and being like, "Hey, hombre, you want to see a donkey show?" You see like a devil appear and then an angel appear on my shoulder, but then the devil knocks the angel away. Like,
Yeah, man. I mean, TJ is it was beyond. Like, I mean, I don't know. I can only imagine what it's like now. Jesus.
yeah.
Well, probably
Oh,
quiet now, but
bless that place. How often? Because you were lit. Wait, your house was where? Is that in Mission Beach?
college area.
College area. So
Like,
that's
yeah. It was like El Cajon Boulevard, in between El Cajon and University. So it was uh right by SDSU, before El Cajon or La
okay.
Mesa. It was like before La Mesa. You know what I mean? In that area before La Mesa, and like, I don't know, the Canyon area or whatever. Mission Mission Hills. No, shit, I can't remember this name now. Anyways, it's been a long time, but it was just a little pocket right by SDSU.
It's not past Point Loma, is it?
No, it's east. It was like
Okay,
off
gotcha.
the
It's north.
eight. Um,
So how long? Like how many minutes from your house to Cobra House to like TJ?
Maybe like 25, 30 minutes at the most.
So like in New York City, there's like all these bars here that like skate careers have been thrown away in. Like you think TJ is probably equal in the amount of careers thrown away there for skaters that move to Southern California and fall in love down there?
Oh yeah, I mean, I
Pre
think,
nine
yeah,
pre 9/11, so you could go across the border willy nilly. They didn't care. I remember that.
yeah.
Like, oh god, I wish I could package that and sell it just to feel in a way. Exactly. It just like walking over and just. And I remember like the don't piss in the street in TJ. Like that was the thing. Like if you got caught, you get rolled.
Yeah, don't drink the water. Don't get caught pissing in the streets. Don't buy any drugs.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
don't try to like smoke any weed or anything like that. Like, that was the three rules.
yeah. But like, did you like what was the board change like? Like coming up through the ages. I mean, did you go wide early or did you go wide late?
I don't know. I mean, I ride 825s. You know what I mean? I think I always just tried to ride what was comfortable. I remember I would back in the day switch out, like if I knew I was gonna do it, like like a bigger gap or whatever, I would maybe bump it up to like an 8.5 or something like that, or I forget, like because I usually rode about a 7.75 back then, and then I think it was seven. I don't know. I remember there was another board that I would put on when I was like, or I would want to try to skate if I knew I was going to skate something bigger, just because it like looked bigger. You could just stick your feet, throw it up, and stomp it down easier. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
But
this is the most important question I'll ask you. You ready?
Sure.
Mob or Jessup?
Oh, Jessup. Definitely epic.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That's the cool answer.
Why? I mean, I just haven't really used much mob, and I mean, I like the idea of it, but I mean, dude, like, I can't say. I mean, dude, I'll ride anything. I mean, like, look at this. I mean, I did this the other day.
Holy, what little kid did you steal a skateboard from?
I'm shaking my other one. I'm just kind of like really just finding weird shit on Amazon and getting it like this close in the dark. Like,
wait, what board is that? Turn it over.
This is a local. It's a 9 ways out. It's
hell
just,
yeah. Wait, are those
like
indies?
Fresh sticker jobs on there.
Slizza, man.
I am riding indies.
This episode this episode is sponsored by Slizza, by the way. I'm putting that out there. Slizza.
I still need to put it on. I haven't done it yet.
You haven't slizzed your Slizza.
My Slizza stick is just a stick.
Are those? Are those back? Wait, did you always skate indies or anything else or whatever?
No, usually I always ride Thunders, but
Thunders. They weren't ventures. Then. Okay, I was wrong.
About how I lost my board, like popped out of my trunk.
Yeah,
and I lost it, and that had like Thunders on it, and then I went to the skate shop the next day, and the only trucks they had were these indies, and I was like, I'll take them, and yeah, they're good, man. I mean, I need to get bushings. Like, I'm always like,
dude, is that how loose you ride your trucks?
Yeah, because like, I mean, I need better bushings.
Dude, you got Matt Rodriguez trucks over there. That's crazy.
They're not that bad, man. That's not Dave Coyne level yet, dude. That dude's like, whoa. I mean,
do you know that?
Yeah, I like him. I like him.
Effective next batch, Independent has removed the Iron Cross from their logo on the trucks.
No way. Really?
Yeah, those ones probably still have it on there, but they got rid of it.
Wow.
Turns out.
Yeah, these are new. I don't know. I don't see it. Maybe
there's no Iron Cross on there.
Oh wait, that's on that.
Right under the kingpin.
Yeah, there is, but it's almost worn away.
Batch. Turns out.
Slides because it's on the
racist
pivot thing. It's right there.
You froze up.
And I think it's there, but it's kind of worn out.
Yeah, got it out there. Yeah, they pulled it. Did you see drugs come through skateboarding, like hard drugs?
Yeah, I mean, I eventually, realized there was a lot of cocaine.
Yeah.
In like scenes that I was running in, and I was like, never really for it. I don't know, never really fucked with it. But yeah, I mean, definitely weed was always there. A lot of alcohol. Like I said, like sometimes a couple times shrooms, but it wasn't until later when really big money came in and people started just parties, were happening all the time, and it just seemed like a lot of people like to sniff the blow.
Yeah. Did you see what it like on a level of like just you being part of the scene and not partaking in that though? But did you see like the negative that came with that? Like,
oh yeah, I mean, yeah. Like, I mean, because it would be a party, be happening, it'd be super fun. Next thing you know, everyone's gone. You're like, huh? You're like, why is everyone in the bathroom? Like,
yeah.
What do you mean? Like, I didn't get it. You know what I mean? I didn't like what they were doing, and I had no intention of doing it. So it was like, and then then you'd see people like 10 minutes later, and they just be like talking even more, and they're like drinking even more, and you're just like, that doesn't look fun to me.
Somebody called the guy. Yeah.
But I wouldn't say I saw
like you're like, so like the 80s and early 90s were like when Gator and Tony Hawk, they had those hills in the mansions, those mansions in the hills like way out, and then Gator gatored his girlfriend and like all that dark stuff of like drugs coming to skateboarding. Then skateboarding died, and then it came into your era, which was what year did you move out to SD? 97? 97.
Yeah.
So money was coming. So were you like the first crop? Like when you got out there, was that when money was first starting to come back into skateboarding?
I think so.
Yeah,
I mean, I
right. That makes
remember,
sense.
yeah, like things like from like, the minute I got out there, things seemed to like, not to say it was because of me, but things started to like ramp up. I mean, it was like definitely you saw, things, people making plans for like the year 2000 and, the X Games and like, it was definitely growing, what I
Yeah.
mean? So I hit it at the right time, like to go out there. But I mean, when I first got out there, I mean, I would say like, Chad being a pro was getting paid $800 a month.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah. Far cry from Nigel Houston.
just it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It would be weird. Like if you were just to push back skateboarding to like were the Olympics back then, do you think everybody would have been down or against it?
Oh, I think it would have been probably a little more laughed at, or like,
Yeah.
what I mean, like, what I mean, it would have been more just clicky. It would have, what I mean, you'd have your like Olympic click skaters. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Who do you think would be a late 90s Olympic click skater? This is a fun game.
Late 90s.
Hmm.
Uh,
Cue
God
Jeopardy
dang.
theme.
There's no wrong answer.
I know.
Let's see.
Do
I
it.
mean, it would have to be like an all-terrain like person, I would think, because like if you imagine the Olympics back then, they would be like kind of how old dew tours were or whatever, like
Yeah.
big weird ramps. So uh I'm trying to think of someone who had like kind of a squeaky clean image, but ripped like
Fuck.
bigger stuff. I mean, and I don't want to just say Tony Hawk. I want to see someone like that we would have been from that era. So
Yeah.
damn,
So I'm drawing a blank.
no, no, I don't know.
Maybe an
This is a
Alomar.
really I was gonna say Omar
That would be
Hassan
awesome.
because I could see Omar Hassan like I don't know like
Oh yeah, yeah,
because he was like that all terrain like beast. I think.
dude. But honestly, if Menace Skateboards was the American Olympic team, I would back Olympic skateboarding. That would be so fucking awesome. And
Dude, hell yeah.
like Rodney Mullen or having to manage them. He's the team coach. That would be so sick. Oh fuck! I dropped my phone. Okay, back at it. Who else would be? Who else would be an Olympic skater in the '90s? I can't think. I said Menace, but
Oh, you mean like a whole team?
no. Oh yeah. Okay, let's do that. Which team would be Olympic team from the late '90s? World?
Yeah, I would say a blind or like,
Yeah.
what I mean, Casper Krieger, Corey Shepard. I don't know, whatever was on the team at the time.
What year did girl? What year did girl start?
Oh, girl, yeah, of course. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, they would do it. They
girl
would totally
chocolate.
rip it. Okay, off the theoreticals. Let's get back, and we'll start wrapping up soon here. But I'm having too much fun.
I know, dude. It's fun.
Dude, the best part is we're gonna do a follow up, and we'll do this again. Like, there's much more to talk about. I love this. Okay, wait. So I'm going to this. Do you still have the Prince Albert?
Oh God, no. That lasted like 6 months. Like it was so like it just got so gross and cruddy down there that it was just like I don't know. It was like, and then you'd wake up in the morning and have to like pull the ball thing out the whole, and it was just crusty mess. It was just like because I wasn't showering regularly. I mean, my
Yeah,
hygiene was slim to none, and
yeah,
then
dude. Teenage skate dick is already bad enough.
so yeah, like I remember like the materials, like if I wore boxers back then, how just uncomfortable they were, and like I don't know, just it was gross. I mean, so it lasted 6 months. I remember like I took it out for like some reason. The next thing I knew, it was like, there's no way I'm putting this back in. See ya. Like,
Did you get a refund on the jewelry?
no, I had it. I've had it though forever. Like it's somewhere in my, I don't know, weirdness.
It's in
Like
your. It's
things.
in that. It's in that box of things from your childhood.
Yes.
That's it for my questions on the notes. But I wanted, and in the technical, the battery died last time before I got to ask this. What's life now for Dave Coyne? Like, what are you doing now?
I'm working,
Working?
working every day. Yeah, just
Yeah.
got it
Slizza?
good, man. I got it good. Just skating, of course. I mean, as much as possible. I live kind of pretty comfy. I mean, and I don't really, I don't know. I guess because of COVID, like there's not too much going on really. So I
Yeah.
mean, uh, and I don't know. I kind of find like I guess I enjoy skating like a little bit by myself. So I mean, going out and just capturing clips here and there, or like just still being out and filming weird stuff is always fun. But other than that, yeah, I mean, skating, working. I mean, I used to swim a bit or get in a pool regularly, but now I'm just, I don't know. I walk on a treadmill at home.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Hell yeah.
pretty low key, I think.
Yeah.
Just keep it
Awesome.
simple.
Well, dude, I mean, thank you so much for doing this, Dave. This was so much fun, and I look forward to the follow up. Real quick before while I have you here, though, Slizza, we talked about that in the first part. Where can they find or where can they buy Slizza? Where can they buy one?
Well, it's not really like for sale as of yet. I mean, it's just I'm just trying to spread the skate rat love. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I found this. I mean, here I'll show you. Dude. Like send people like 4 sheets of it basically, and it just you put it. Someone can get it. I don't care what you do with it, man. Put it, fix the window, put it somewhere like you want it to, like on a frame or some picture you have. I don't care. But if you put it on your nose or in your tail or and then you put the two in the middle and you just squeeze it down and I don't know, man. It just makes skating a little more fun.
Hell
Well, it
yeah.
keeps the board a little fresher and like and maybe it is mental, but what I mean, it kind of gives me a little more umph to go skate, you know. And
Fuck
so
yeah.
that's what it is, man. It's I looked into ideas on what I'm doing with it as far as, but it's just so far down the road. Like I mean, I think because I mean it's just an idea still, like what I mean, that I'm having fun with and like sharing with like people on Instagram that like if I like their skating, I'd reach out and say, hey, like you want to try it, please. And like I don't know, a couple of people have like hit me up about it, but I just send it to
Hell yeah. Dude, that's
them.
awesome. Well, I'm psyched on it. And I'll
I'm gonna
whatever.
send you some.
Dude, I'm down. I'm so down. I skated yesterday for like 3 hours in the new indoor park here. It was so much fun. Um,
Nice.
Dude, they got like a proper 8 footer there with 1 foot of vert on it. Like it is real sick. And they got like a normal 5 footer, and they got like a micro pipe, and then they got like a whole street area. Like it's pretty sweet. And I've not set foot in an indoor skate park. I mean, other than like a house of vans or whatever, like they used to be
Uh-huh.
down the block here, but it's very cliche, and I haven't skated much just because of being hurt. But like, oh man, I love this shit. It's so much fun. Like
Awesome.
it's a blast. It's really it hurts right afterwards. And you see kids skating, and you just want to go up to them and be like, use those knees, buddy. Use them while you got them. Like pinch them by their cheeks. Like you don't know how good you have it. No, but
Dude, yeah.
dude, thank you so much,
Yeah.
and I'll link your Instagram below, and I'll do
Thanks,
everything, and I
man.
I want a Slizza shirt. I gotta buy a Slizza shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Slizzle,
fucking love
Slizzle
that,
streetwear. I'm
dude.
gonna put that shit on everything.
Dave,
That's what
any
it's
last
about.
words? Any last words on here before we end this?
Well, thank you. Thank you to skateboarding in general, and just I don't know, be kind to each other. Like live life to its fullest, and I don't know, have fun along the way.
Dave Coyne,
Just
ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching. Really appreciate it. I guess I'll just call it Max White Presents.
Max White,